Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Let's get some light in here. There we go. It's a little bit better, isn't it? A bit of light. Hope everybody is doing well. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, isn't it? FA Cup weekend, and Spurs are out the FA Cup. I think many people, it's funny. So many people I saw yesterday predicting a Villa win are the same people now putting posts out on YouTube and making videos being really surprised that a much better Aston Villa knocked Spurs out the FA Cup. I'm not surprised. Unfortunately, I was bang on with my score prediction of Villa 2-1. The better team by a mile, the better players by a mile. Just the levels. Listen, I'll be honest, I watched the first half. Second half, I didn't get to see much of, and then rewatched the game this morning. So I watched the game. Yeah, I watched the game completely back. And it's interesting. When you watch a game back knowing the score, you can look for different things. And, you know, Villa for me are just superior to what we are. I looked at the 2 11s that lined up. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. And I don't think you're going to be surprised. This is one of the worst 11s I think I've seen in my 40 years of supporting Tottenham. I think this is an absolutely atrocious ensemble is the word I was looking of players. Other than Van de Ven and Paulinho from yesterday's 11, I wouldn't keep any of them. And sorry if that upsets anyone. I think this is a dreadful team. This is a dreadful team that at the moment I don't go into games expecting. People are going, "Oh, look how we play." Yeah, look at the players. And all I've said, I know people go mad. I got so many messages last night, even though I said to people I had something very personal to deal with. They still messaged me abuse, which was quite staggering. I look at this group of players and I think to myself, what I'd love to see before we sack the manager, I'd love to just see him with all the better players. I'd just like to see what it looks like. That's all I'd like to see, because these players are absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. I do not rate Vicario. For years, I've had to have this fight with people. Oh, he's brilliant. He's better than Raya. Is he? Fuck. Is he? Like, he rubbish. Porro, don't rate. I'm sorry. Again, I don't rate Porro. I keep hearing he's not a fullback. What's he do? Like, his crossing looks absolutely dreadful. His passing is all, I don't know what he does. Danso's okay, right? Danso is a squad player, isn't he? He's a defender that plays in the squad. And it is what it is. You know, you keep him about because he's a good squad player. He's never going to take you to a top 4 or trophy, but he's a decent squad player. Mickey Van de Ven is the standout, of course. We know that. He's the standout player. And then Ben Davies, look, I don't think he does anything wrong, but he's just not a player that should be at a club like Tottenham anymore. Paulinho, we'll talk. I've got a bit about Paulinho in a minute. I thought was a one-man midfield, and I feel so sorry for him having to play with Archie Gray, who is just absolutely, I'm sorry, I don't care how old he is. He is not a good footballer. I don't care. I don't care. I keep hearing he's only 19. He can't pass a football. He is weak. His positional sense is dreadful. I don't know what he does. Tell and Odegaard, I'll link them together. Tell and Odegaard have a moment in a game. They have a moment and everyone goes, oh, see? For 90 minutes out, let's say a game is 90 minutes. For 89 minutes, I don't notice them playing. They don't do anything. They are so bad on the ball. Just nothing for me. Xavi Simons was the one player yesterday I thought there was a ray of hope for, in terms of when he gets the ball and he's actually driving forward, you can see that he's got that football intelligence. Richie, another injury, but just shouldn't be at this football club. Mawani, not good enough for me. Just not good enough. Either that or he doesn't care. We're bringing on footballers like Dane Scarlett. I mean, that's where we've fallen to. We are bringing on Dane Scarletts. I'm seeing people saying, "Whoa, what the substitutions? Who is it that who's coming on?" And as all I've said, I would just love to see. I would just love to see how are we when we've actually got our players fit. Now, he might never get afforded that luxury, but I would love to see it. With all the previous managers, we've at least seen, right, when they have their players and when they've got the injuries. With this manager, we've just seen what it's like with injuries. And I would like to see what it's like when all the players are fit. Now, I don't think it's going to be amazing, by the way, because I don't think this squad is great. But I went into the game last night and I said to anyone that listened before, I said, I think we'll lose 2-1. I don't think we can lay a glove on them. They're too strong for us in midfield. They've got difference makers like Morgan Rogers. Said before as well about Buendia. Lots of Spurs fans telling me he's not very good. Good little footballer. Really good, intelligent little footballer, Buendia. And, you know, they're bringing on players off the bench like Yuri Tielemans and Ollie Watkins. We're bringing on Dane Scarletts. And the thing is, I don't care, right? I don't care. I don't care which individual player people want to defend or the manager. All I know is that year upon year upon year upon year, this squad is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And the owners, there was a bit in the game where they panned up. I think there was Vinay sitting there with Lang, a couple of other people. And I just looked at them and I thought, you guys can see how desperate we are for quality players. You can see how desperate we are. Doesn't matter if it's Frank or not. We are desperate for reinforcements. Absolutely crying out for reinforcements. And we're 11 days into the window and we've signed a 19-year-old left back. And I'm watching that game. I'm looking at the squads and I'm going, how in the last 6 years have Villa gone like that and we've gone like that? How? 6 years ago, we were in a Champions League final. They were in the playoff final in the Championship. They've gone like that and we've gone like that. It's such a shame. It's such a shame to see that this is what we've become. And the problem is when you have, I can always see when people talk about the lack of intent and the players pick and choose when to turn up, that's because they're average. Average players can't play at that level and sustain it. Otherwise, Burnley would be top of the league with their intent. Every time you watch Burnley, they're in the game, they're fighting, they're battling. But why are they down the bottom? Because the quality of the players isn't good enough. If anyone can't see that we are, oh my gosh, we are crying out. We are crying out. We are starting games with Archie Gray. Archie, he is, sorry, at the risk of offending Lubo, we've got fans that want players like this in the squad. We've got fans that want Tells and Odebers and Grays. This is not good enough. These players are not good enough. I don't care who the manager is. The manager will get sacked. We know that. We know that. Performances, results will always dictate whether a manager is sacked or not. It's not rocket science. But this squad is criminal. And I think it's going to take for this manager to get sacked and a new manager to come in for people to actually realize how bad these players are. We can keep saying it. We hired a mid-table manager. I think Brentford's squad at this stage is better than ours. Let that sink in. This is an awful squad of footballers. And I'm going to say it over and over again because people just don't listen. I don't care who the manager is. The next manager is coming in and picking up this shit show. Picking up this shit show. In the summer, they had a wonderful opportunity to strengthen and didn't. And didn't. You've sacked the manager, you've brought in a manager and his coaches, and you've not strengthened. And then you're going, right, we're in 4 competitions. Sure, but their attitudes stink because they're not good enough, Phil. They're not good enough. They've seen how many different managers. They're seeing nobody come in. See, but again, I can tell who doesn't understand football. It's not about players standing out. Again, our fan base will never get this through their minds. It's about building a team and a squad for all of its parts. It's not about standout players. It's about building a team with an identity. That's what Brentford have done over the years, haven't they? They've built a team. Everyone who comes in to Brentford knows what the club is about. They know what they're playing for. They know the system. Same with Brighton. Same for years with Bournemouth. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have an identity. We don't have a plan as a club. We don't have an ethos. We sign players willy-nilly and we go on. It's like, well, go on what? How anybody is looking at those 2 11s that lined up yesterday and thinking we should beat Villa is absolutely mad. It's an awful team. I'll tell you what, mate, listen, if every message is just going to talk about Ange, I'll just kick you out. I'm so bored of it. Move on. We are here now. I keep hearing the job's too big for Frank. Cool. Who's coming in? Who's coming in? Which manager's coming in? Is it Glasner, who's won 1 in 9 and got knocked out to Macclesfield? Is it Iriola, who's won 1 in 12? Who is coming into this football club? Who's coming in? I don't know. I don't know. What's Maresca going to do? What is Maresca going to do with these players? He had Chelsea 4 points above us with that Chelsea squad. What on earth is he going to do with these players? Again, you're just about to be blocked. Again, it's ridiculous. Grow up. Stop making different accounts. Grow up. You've just been blocked for good. Ridiculous. This is an awful group of players. When this manager is sacked, we know it's coming. I'm going to sit here and say the same thing under the new manager. We need to buy players. I don't care who the manager is. We can keep having this conversation over and over and over again. I don't care if Thomas Frank is sacked. All I said I wanted to see was that we at least get to see what he's like with Madison's, with Kulu's, with all of our players. I'd like to see it. That's all I want to see. When I sat here in the summer and I said how bang average this squad was, I was mocked by everybody. I was mocked by everybody. Again, I can't take silly comments. When you're saying doing a better job, Thomas Frank built Brentford. He built Brentford over 7 years. Andrews has picked up a very good Brentford club. They're very well organised, great scouting, great coaches, great structure. He's come in and taken that over. This is not Keith Andrews taking over Brentford in the bottom half of the Championship and taking them through to be a mid-table Premier League football club. Right? I don't get how people are so... Honestly, sometimes when I speak to people about football, I just sit and think to myself, how dumb do you have to be? I keep seeing people doing this, going, oh, Brentford, look how much better they are. Well, let's see at the end of the season. It's a long season, right? Because better at what? They're like 3 points better off than at this stage last season. What are we talking about? We are 21 games into the season. If they lose the next 2, they'll be doing worse than they were under last season. It's ridiculous how people want to judge game on. It's ridiculous. That squad, by the way, that Brentford are doing really well with is the squad that Thomas Frank built. What are you doing? What are we doing? So as I've said a million times, we can change the manager. No one can give me the name. Who's coming in? Who's coming in? Who's coming in? I don't see who comes in with people like Archie Gray, Ben Davis, Tell, Odeber, Richarlison, Mawani, who is coming in and suddenly we're going to be this top 6 club that everyone thinks we are and should be. I just don't see it. I don't know who that guy is. I'm all for it. I just don't know who it is. And I'm at the stage where I think sack him right now. Let's see. I want to see what people will say when the next manager comes in and nothing changes if we don't give them better footballers. I want to see it. I really want to see it at this stage. Of course they have. Of course they have, because they've built their club really well for the last 4 years. Again, this is just a lie. This is just a lie. See, the problem is when you get stupid comments like this, you can't fix stupid. Who on earth said that Thomas Frank wants to stick with these players? Who on earth said that? First opportunity, he got rid of Brennan Johnson. You lot moaned about it. Oh, he's got rid of Brennan. Right? First opportunity, he got rid of Brennan. Right? But then fans like this complain. This guy complained when we got rid of Brennan Johnson. Fans like this complain. Oh, Frank likes this squad. Based on what? How many more times is he going to say, I want to buy players. We need to move in the market. But. Oh, so what do you think he's going to? I just can't deal with idiots. Yeah, which manager comes out? Conte said he was happy with his squad. Jose said it. Ange said it. They all say it. They're not going to come out in a press conference and say, I hate my squad. He's also said we need to upgrade. We need to buy footballers. But I guess we're just going to let that bit go. The next manager will say the same thing. But whoever the next manager is will say, we've got a good squad of players. Yeah, I'm really pleased. And then fans like Sam will go, oh, he thinks it's a good squad. Like when they go, oh, he said he likes Tell. He's not going to say the opposite, is he? He's not going to come out in a press conference and say, I hate Matisse Tell. Just using him as an example. It's honestly, I get it, right? It's just amazing how many people can't actually put together a reasoned debate. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. This guy has come out how many times and said, I want to buy in the market. He said, didn't he? He said in the summer, this recruitment team isn't aligned with me. Now he's saying they are. We need to see it. We need to see it, right? Look, I don't know what any of you were expecting with the 11 you saw last night. Said this in the summer. Don't rate the squad. I was on the Spurs 5. All 4 of them ganged up on me. No. We've had a really good summer. Shambles of a summer. It's a shambles of a summer. We replaced 2 footballers, right? And bought in a lone player in midfield who we haven't even bought. It's a shambles. Again, we're not concentrating on the big picture, are we? What are Enoch doing? What are Enoch doing? What are Enoch doing? I watched that game last night and then watched it back this morning. And I'm watching how certain players in our team can't control a football. And I'm thinking, there are fans going, oh, we're no good. Yeah, because look at the squad we put together. I don't care which of these, other than Van der Ven, I think Simmons will come good and Paulinho's very good. Other than that, I genuinely don't know what I'm meant to be seeing from these very average footballers. I don't know what I'm meant to be seeing. I genuinely don't know how anybody who thinks they know anything about football is looking at this squad. Ask any fan of any other club what they think of our squad, and they all think it's shit. There is so much to fix. There is so much to fix at this football club. But we seem to believe that just changing the manager is going to change everything. It's not. So as again, I'll say it because people like Sam in the chat are idiots and don't listen. Sack him. Cool. He's going to go at some point. Sack him. What are we expecting when a new manager comes in? I don't. Have you noticed? We got fans going, oh, but he wants to, he wants to keep these average players. One, he's never said that. Two, the first moment he got and he sold Brennan Johnson, look how half of our fan base cried. Oh, he got rid of Brennan Johnson. What? Yeah, good. 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 Good he got rid of him. Get rid of all of them. We're going to cry again. Oh, my God, he wants to get rid of Dragosin. Oh, I can't let him go. Oh, Tell might want to go Roma. Can't let him go. Like, oh, Kinski can't let him go. Well, I don't get it. Do we want to keep these players or not? Like, I don't know what we want. Look at that midfield. Just we didn't have a single central midfielder on the bench. Now, what I would do for Saturday against West Ham, I would get Ibasuma straight back in the team. I would get Ibasuma straight back in that team. Straight back in that team alongside Paulinho. Archie Gray is one of the worst players I've seen for Tottenham in a Tottenham shirt. I think he is dreadful. I'm not sugarcoating it. I don't give a shit that he's a teenager. Just because you're 19 doesn't mean I shouldn't see something from you as a footballer. He's a professional footballer. See, now you again, two different scenarios, two different things. Yeah, I agree with you. First of all, it's not even the upgrade on Johnson. Where are the upgrades on our squad? But Johnson should have gone. But where are the signings? This is everything I said in the summer. Where are the signings? People sat back and watched Spurs do next to nothing. We watched Spurs do next to nothing until the last week of the window where we panicked. And everyone went, oh, good window. What? And when I said it, everyone mocked me. Everyone mocked me when I said it. And now they come back in and go, oh, but I said, hang on, I'm the one that said in the summer, I don't expect anything. But yet people come into my show and mock me. I'm the one that sat here in the summer and said, this squad isn't good. Right? I'm the one that said, I don't expect anything. When everyone's fit, we'll have a conversation. Right now, I'm not expecting anything. But again, people like this, they don't want to. Why for the last 3 years then have we been awful? If the players, I keep hearing the players aren't as bad as we're seeing, they're not as bad as we're seeing. Based on what? When have you ever seen Richie, Tell, Odeber, Gray, Porro? When have we ever seen these players play consistently well? But yet we're not as bad as we're seeing. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are as bad as we're seeing. That is now 44 defeats in 89 games. Yes, we are as bad as we're seeing. Oh, but the players are better than this. Based on what? Based on what are the players better than this? We are better than this when Kulu plays, when Madison plays, when we had Son, right? When we had Kane. That's when we were better than this. These players are not good enough. Not good enough. I don't want to use injuries as an excuse, but we've always got injuries. What's going on with our medical team? What's going on with it? Where are the signings? Where are the honestly? I don't know. I don't know as a Spurs fan how anybody can look at this football club and not think that we are 100% lost. It's been like this for decades. It's been like this for absolute decades. And it's just getting worse and worse. And all people want to do is say, oh, Ange v Frank. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. This club is going to be the same mess, whoever is in charge. We might play a bit prettier football, but we're a mess. Lang and Paratici have put this squad together, and they're the ones that we're entrusting to build us a proper squad again. What a mess. What a mess we've got ourselves into. I don't know. I don't know. Like, we're expecting we're going to get to West Ham and everything's going to be great. Look at the squad. I don't know what we're expecting. Do you know, the funny thing is, whenever the Spurs are playing, loads of people WhatsApp me and everyone is saying two completely different things at the same time. They're all sitting there going to me, God, this squad is shit. God, he's shit. This player's shit. Shit. Then in the same thing, they're going, oh, I hate the way we play. Yeah, but you've just said it. The players are shit. Like, what are you expecting? What are we expecting? There's no plan. There's no strategy. There's no pathway. There's no ethos. There's no structure. There's no planning. There's no football man at the top or woman. There's no football person running this club. And Philly, you always say this, and it's always true. You might as well get Dynamo in. Because again, we've seen it. We saw with Ange, new manager bounce. We saw with Frank, new manager bounce. When Jose came in, we had a new manager bounce. Every manager comes at Nuno, new manager bounce. They outperform and then they sink back to what they are. We are just going round in circles. We are just going round and round in circles. And whoever the manager of this football club is going to need time to build something. And what I find more worrying is, doesn't matter how many times I say it, no matter how many times I'm live and how many times I say it, right? Don't care who the manager is at this stage. Genuinely don't care who the manager of this club is until we've got a plan. I don't care. I don't care. Until we've got a plan, I have no interest. We can look at the micro problem, Thomas Frank. We can look at the micro. What are we building? When we signed those 4 players in the summer, what was the plan? And I'll tell you what, thank you. Somebody that gets football. This is the point. This is what I was saying earlier. When I said Brentford have a better squad because it's been put together for Brentford. It's been put together for the club strategy. People go individually, him. Brentford have bought for Brentford. Everyone that goes in there is bought with a plan. Spurs just pluck random. Moani, go on loan. For what? What strategy? For what planning? For what planning? What was the plan in bringing in Bergvals and Grays? Do we even know what? I still watch Berg. I don't know what they are as footballers. I watch them every game. I don't know what they are. So why were they bought? With what plan in mind? I keep talking about the future, but for what? But these players are shit. Like, when you're saying get the best out of, again, here you go. I'll ask the question then. Someone like Aaron won't be able to answer this. The manager's job is to get the best out of what he has. Cool. All right. So when have you seen the best out of Tell, Odegaard, Richarlison, Ben Davis, Danso, Porro, Archie Gray? What is the best of those players? It's not like he's playing his best 11 and we're not seeing anything. What's the plan? What's the plan? I talk about it every day. What's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? If we are so short-sighted that we think changing the manager changes this football club, we're going mad. And that's why in the summer they had the chance to change it. They had the chance to start implementing a plan. They had the chance to. That's what I thought they were going to do. Naively, I was wrong. Hold my hands up. I was wrong. No plan. It was a shit summer for me. I said this a million times. Everyone mocked me. I thought it was a shit summer. I think the word I used was negligent. Negligent. So let me ask this question then. So why should players like Archie Gray, Tell, Odeber, Richarlison, Danso, Porover, why should they be 8th or 9th right now? Why should they be 8th or 9th right now? When you've got your Kulus and your Madisons in there, yeah. When Son was here, yeah. Right now, who is it that you're seeing? People keep saying this. But let's call this out, right? No offense to you, but I see comments like this all the time, right? If that's the case, then why is this the truth? Right? If that's the case, there you go. Over 2 years, our average 15th. So why should this team be 8th or 9th right now without its best player? Why? As I said, people throw things around because that's my opinion, but the facts show that that's not true. The facts show it's not true. As I said, but again, that's not the Premier League. That's not the Premier League. For 2 years, the sample size of the Premier League shows you we're a mess. No one wants to believe it. Isn't it funny that all people can throw at me is, yeah, but you didn't want Ange. Yeah, what else did I say other than not wanting Ange? Have a plan. Have a plan. Build. Implement a plan. Didn't do it. And people go, you wanted this manager. Yeah, I didn't want this manager with the same players. I want to build. I want to build. I want an identity. You know, we've got the same problem. People are talking about West Ham. We've got the same problem West Ham have had. No plan. No plan. And I said before, I don't know where we go from here. Philly, do you know what cracks me up, right? Do you know what cracks me up is people have seen data for nearly 3 years as to how bad we are. But everyone still goes, no, we shouldn't be there. We should be 5th. We should be. When I ask people to tell me based on what, no one can actually tell me. Why are we so ignorant to what the actual problem at this football club is? Ever since we changed to this stadium, the player recruitment has got worse and worse and worse. And the problem is, if you keep buying worse players than once that you had, you are going to get worse. This is not rocket science. We can all argue about, should we be 9th? Should we be 40th? What the fuck does it matter? Right? What does it matter? If we're not going to buy better footballers, we are going to be a mess. Welcome, James Flower. How are you?
Barring football, yeah, I'm very, very well, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yeah, glutton for punishment. I watched bits of the game last night and then watched the full thing back this morning. How I'm sitting here jealous of Villa is beyond me. When 6 years ago they were in the Championship.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I do think that these players are nowhere near good enough. I've said that for so long, but I don't think that Frank's even getting 50% out of what he has got as well. So I think it's kind of a mismatch of both. The bigger picture is the club is rotten the whole way up, in my opinion. So I don't feel.
I agree.
I do feel that we need a new manager, but I also feel like we need another 10 players, 11 players. And I also feel like the whole club going the whole way up needs to be changed as well. I mean, like one of the things you said there, which I agree with, is like, what do you expect out of these players? But the second half showed that there is a little bit more out of these players than the start of the game. So either he's not firing them up, or he's not getting the best out of them, or whatever it may be. Look, I don't expect us to pull any trees down, but what I'm seeing at the minute is just shocking. It really, really is. It's really
Can I
bad.
ask a question though? So
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with what we're seeing is shocking, but who is it that you're actually looking at in that team that you think should be doing better? Because I think
Well,
Talanoa are. I think they're championship footballers. I think
mhm.
Archie Gray is League One. I think Archie. Sorry, it sounds like I've got an agenda. I just think he is absolute toilet. I have no idea, James. Who in this club looked at Archie Gray and went, "That is where £40 million of our transfer fee should be"? Mawani,
Yeah.
Richarlison,
Yeah.
Porro, Danso, like Vicario, Davis. Who is it that we're looking at and going, yeah, these boys should be playing better? Because I don't see it.
So I think people like Xavi Simons should be doing a lot better than he is, and I think it
Do you
almost
not
felt
think
like the
he would be
second.
with better players around him?
Yeah, but then I mean I'm just kind of relating to like what my boy says. Like, their striker's not very good in his team, but I just say, if you do your bit, put that ball in that box, let him look stupid, but you do your part. Make sure you're doing your part. So if he played two or three through balls and Colin Mawani didn't even run, people would then go, look, he's trying. You can see what he's working with here. The second half, I felt he did do that. I felt like he said, you know what, I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to do everything. And I feel like he did do everything.
Yeah, I thought he grew
So
into the game massively. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, so I think there's certain bits and pieces. I feel like our defense is really good. Is tongue in cheek, but I think our defense is good enough to sort of have a bit more physical defensive stability than what we have. I
Yeah, I'd say
just don't see.
I disagree on that. I just don't think it's good. I think we have
Yeah.
hyped up Romero and Van der Ven to a point where we're convincing ourselves that they're good. I 4 years now with those boys, and it's the same thing every season. No matter who the manager is, we're seeing the same performances.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I think that in the right system, though, I think if you told them guys to sit back and actually have Polina sitting back on his own, almost turning into a back three, I think we'd be a lot more solid. He always seems to play Pedro Porro as sort of like the sit-in defender. Like Ben Davies yesterday was flying up the wing, and you're thinking, why is Ben Davies not sat and turned into a three? And you've got Porro flying up the wing. Whether you think he's good enough or not, for me, I'm seeing so many little things now that I'm like, are you kind of doing this on purpose, or what? Because it just makes sense. Why have you got Davis so far forward and Porro sitting? Like, for me, I don't know.
Do you know what though?
But
Can
I'm
I
not
ask
saying that the players ain't good, because look, I've said Kolo Muani, everyone knows my opinion. I said it from the moment I saw him. I think the first game, Sean went, "Did you see that control? He's a Premier League footballer. He is at all." Well,
But this is what we're clutching onto now. Forget that Sean said that. This is what we're clutching onto. Somebody yesterday said to me at half time, I said, God, me and you were WhatsApping during the game as well, James. I
yeah,
said, I just think Tell and Odegaard are off at the square root of nothing. Somebody at half time messaged me and went, you see that cross from Tell? And I'm like, right, one cross. Is that like, this is where we're at. We are now having to pluck one pass or one cross somebody does in a game to judge that they're good footballers. Look, nothing's going to change my mind, James, right? This squad has been getting slowly but surely worse since the Poch days.
Mhm.
And Kane and Son held this club together.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kane went, Son got older and had to go. But Spurs have done the square root of nothing to try and eradicate what we've lost from those two.
Or just get back to that point. You know what I mean? Don't even want to go past that point. Just get back to that point. But for me, yeah, I agree, and that's where I don't give all the criticism to Frank. I don't, because you can only do so much.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Sorry, James. Sorry, that's not what I said. I hate. Sorry, James. This is my pet hate.
Yeah.
I did not say Romero and Van der Ven aren't good enough. Listen to what I actually said. I will just block you. If when people lie like this, they then go into other chat rooms and go, did you see that Savva just said Romero and Van der Ven? It's not what I said at all. Please don't change my words.
I agree.
That's not what I said.
I do agree, like you're saying, with the way the players have just gone down and down and down. I completely agree, but I do feel like this is the whole lot. I mean, I don't even. I feel like that Frank is so safe that he knows that if he carries on, he's going to get sacked, and he's going to get. I read this morning, £20 million if you're going to get sacked. But this ain't a nice place for him. Either way,
I think it's 12.5 million, isn't it? I think if he goes
oh,
now,
that's what I thought originally. But I did see that if it's in the first season, it's 20 million. So that was what I read this morning. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But I don't blame him. Let's face it, the fans are hounding him out for whatever. Fair enough. Some things I think are valid, some things I don't. I do feel like I don't want to turn it all on him. I do feel like he's kind of coming across as in, this is where we are. And I understand that you've got to be honest to some degree. But to say, he come out the other day, goes, the last 3 games we were really good. We wasn't really good. Or it was a standard that was really good. And it's not. So I don't know if he's trying to kind of notch the barrel down. So when he does, if he gets given a chance and he succeeds, it's like, yeah, I told you I was better than where we should be. We are 17th. We should be 17th. And I get what he's saying. But I do feel like at some point you do need to kind of give back a little bit. And I don't feel like he's giving the fans or anything a little bit. It's always like a sly dig. And that's okay. I agree with a lot of the digs. I agreed with what he said about the Vicario. But I just think that without these fans, you're going to be fired instantly. So you at least need the fans.
I think at this stage he will get sacked. And I bet you any money he goes to another Premier League club and does a really good job. I bet you any money he goes to another Premier League club, has 4 or 5 years, and actually turns them into a good football club. Problem is, we've fallen so far that we've got a mixture of fans who think we should be really good versus fans who understand we're a mess. But we need to build. I don't care if it's Frank. I mean, we've had this chat a million times, James. I don't care if it's Frank. The next manager coming in, I feel sorry for already. We haven't even sacked this manager, and I'm feeling sorry for the next guy. Because the next guy, everyone's going to expect miracles. Look, I don't even care, right?
Well, that's what I was saying to you this morning. That's what I was saying to you this morning. When you said, what do you think? Or something along those lines. I actually don't. Is this the first look? Under Ange, I was like, I'm going to watch this, but what are we going to get? Are we going to get X or Y or Z? You just never know. I think this season is the first time, and the parts of last season, that I'm like, I actually charge my phone before a game starts because I'll sit on my phone more than I will watch the game. And that's not all Frank. That's not all Frank. It's partly him. But for me, these players, this is I mean, I know you use that phrase now. When I took my son to the Spurs shop, who do you want on the back of your shirt? No one. What do you mean, no one? Yeah, when I was growing up, even the so-called crap players that were criticised, Aaron Lennon's, they were the ones that we was criticising back then, going, well, he's good for pace, but can he deliver a ball? Can he, And then you had the Gareth Bales on the other side. But now you're like, I'd love an Aaron Lennon. I would love an Aaron Lennon.
James, this is the point, and welcome, Rain. This is the point, right? So the other night, I was in the pub with a few of my boys, right? Boys, like we're 12 or something. Yeah, we're the lads.
All the geezers.
And they're not YouTube people, right, James? They're not YouTube people. They're just my normal mates that, I think one of them's West Ham, 2 of them West Ham, one of them's Chelsea, one of them's Arsenal, one's Liverpool, one's United, right? And they're all sitting there going, Spurs, they've always mocked me down the years because obviously their clubs other than West Ham have always won loads and blah, blah. But they've always talked about, you know what? We want Bale off you, or Bale deserves better, Kane deserves better, Son deserves better. They're all now sitting there going, don't want any of your players. They're not even mocking us and going, oh, you're wasting that player. They're literally saying, how far have you fallen in terms of, I see loads of people in chats. And again, Rain, I don't know if you agree with me. The more and more I look at these other squads, I look at Brentford's squad. I look at Everton's squad. I look at Palace's squad. I'm just chucking that thing. And we keep talking like we should be so much better than these clubs on the pitch. I'm looking at the squads, Rain, going, why? Like, does Tell, Odeber, Gray, they don't get in at Palace. They don't get in at Everton. They don't get in at Brighton. But we're playing these players and we're going, oh, we should be much higher than Palace. We should be much higher than Everton. Why? With what? Maybe when Maddison and Kulu are there, and maybe when Romero and Van der Ven are both fit. Maybe when, you know, Basuma's fit. I don't know, but do you see what I'm saying? I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Now we want Owen. We want Walton. We want Thiago. We want Mateta. We are looking at their teams and going, that player's better than our that player's better than our players. That player's better than our players. That player's better than our players.
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on. It goes on and on. And yet people turn around and go, we're a top 8 team. And yet you would also say in the same paragraph, we're a better team than them, but I'll take all of their players. Wake up.
Right.
Wake up. And I'm sorry, I've come on to it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. We should be getting more out of the players. And yesterday, everybody's lauded the second half. And why can't we play the second half? Why can't we play like the second half in every game? Why in the first half do we play like that? And then why do we play in the second half? And the fact is, I talk about regression to the mean. Yeah, you've got like an average performance level in anything, in any life, in anything that anyone does. You've got an average performance level, and you can do a little bit better if you're doing some woodwork, right? You can do some shelving, yeah, and you can do some shelving, and it's actually really, really good. But then actually you do some shelving, and it's actually not that good. There's an average, yeah. There's an average, and a really good carpenter, their average is there, right? And a really rubbish one, their average is there. That doesn't mean that this guy can't produce this type of shelf. And that's what's happening with our players. People are their average is here, 17th in the Premier League. The Premier League is a great indicator of of the quality of our players. That's why you always say the league. It shows you the reality, right? You can go on a cup run, and we've quite often been a cup team, but the reality is the league. And you can get a performance like this second half, but you know what? This is reality. The average is reality.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, why can't the manager? What they expect is for the manager to take them from the average and get them overperforming every single game. Do you know what happens when Do you know what happens when you get, let's say, a car and you rev it at 7,000 RPM every single time you're driving it? Do you know what happens? Car breaks. That's what happens. So what you do is you rev between 2,000 and 3,000 because you get decent performance and you get long life. There's a reason
within reason though, right? Surely within reason, because so far I haven't seen us hit any heights this season. So it's all well and good saying peak here, peak there. We've had one good game for me where I look back and go, "Car," and that was Man City. I can't remember looking back and going, "Car."
What does that tell you about the players?
No, but it's not just the players though, is it? It's not just the players though, because you see teams like Bournemouth go on 10 win run or 10 games unbeaten, but then they'll lose 10 and you go, well, yeah, that's because your average is mid-table. We ain't ever having that progressive part. And so even though I think the players I think the players are 9th, 8th, 10th, 11th. That's where I think they'll finish. But I think if you have a good manager, you'll get 9th, 8th-ish. If you have a bad manager, you'll see where we are now. And so far, frankly, for me,
6 months. Sorry, Sav. 6 months ago, Iraola was the second coming, and we're a Bournemouth. Why Bournemouth where they are? Because they've got one or two decent players and just sold one, right? I'm sorry,
James. We've got one or two. We've got 1, 2, or 3 decent players.
And that's why we are where Bournemouth.
You were answering the question. I think you were answering the question.
No, but I don't know. I actually don't think you're answering the question because you're kind of saying this is where we should be, and we're 15th, and we've been there or thereabouts the whole time. With Bournemouth, they'll have a good run, and they'll go on a 10 games where they're really good. So why haven't we had that 10 game that's really good?
Hang on, when have Bournemouth done that?
Or was it the start of the season? I think they had a really good start of the season.
But James, this is the difference. We are neck and neck in the league with Bournemouth. We are
Yeah,
exactly
but
the same.
What I was saying, I was actually answering back to his point where he said, yeah, when the average players have good spells, they'll be here. So for me, for an average player to have a good spell, that part for me is a lot on the manager. That turning them average players to be a bit better is on the manager. For me, the players, if they're average or wherever you think, they'll be 15th, 12th, 13th the whole season. The good manager gets them 2 or 3 places above. For me, the bottom 3 are by far worse than what we are. So if we've got a good manager, he should be getting us 2, 3, 4 places higher than we are. For me, look, I don't disagree. I think our manager is crap.
Hang on. But this is where everyone's focusing so much on league position. 1 win takes us up 5 league positions. So does that mean if we beat West Ham, we're doing well because we'll be sitting 10th in the table for a week?
No, but that's where I think the adult conversation comes into it, and we talk to each other about what we've seen all season. So what we've said, we haven't said. When was the last time we had a good?
But this is what I'm asking. Who in this team, like, who is looking at Spurs' midfielders and going, yeah, we should have a real good run of games where we control games and we look good. I
agree with what you're saying, but hasn't we top or bottom?
Who is looking at our wingers and saying, yeah, I really expect we should be seeing more? Like, against Bournemouth, I thought Tell did some nice bits. In the main, I think he's quite poor. I think in terms of his touch, his control, I think he's quite poor, but he had some nice moments. Yesterday, I thought he was shit. Odegaard against Bournemouth, I thought was shit. Yesterday, had some nice touches in the second half, got a good goal. Other than that, I don't think does a lot. This is what these players are. They are, again, I'll ask you this. Does Tell, does Odegaard, does Gray, does Davis, do these people get into these teams that are in and around us? I don't think they do anymore. And this is what I think Rain's talking about. When you're looking at the mean of the club, rather than what, like the outlier is like a game against Man City, right? Players can raise their game. Look at yesterday, Macclesfield. Macclesfield can raise their game to beat Crystal Palace in an FA Cup game, right? It's a one-off. Macclesfield won't play like that every week. You'll probably see next week, Macclesfield, I don't know what league they're in, Macclesfield will probably lose to someone like Telford 1-0, right? And put in a stinker because players can raise their game every now and then. But again, no one can explain to me, why is this the case? If these players are better than they are, James, why does this exist?
So, I'm not saying the players that you are saying are better than they are. For me personally, I am not saying that that Tell's any good, Odegaard's any good. I'm not saying, mate. You know what I think of Colo. I said it from day one.
You were so right. You were so.
I can see with my eyes. Somebody goes to me, look at that touch. But that's fine. But you can see a good football. I could watch. I'm just going to pick out 2 ends of the spectrum. Luka Modric for 10 seconds ago, that guy knows how to play football. I could see it instantly with Kolo Muani. Got the ball, head down, even the goal against PSG. Head down, step over, fumbled it, come off the defender, scored. Everyone went, wow. There was 2 or 3 mistakes in that goal. Look, I know how poor our squad are, but I also know Van der Ven, Romero, Spence, Porro, that they're not bottom 15 for me. Polinia, Javi Simmons, Kudos has only just been injured. They're not bottom 15 for me. So there's 7, 8 players there that should be higher in the league. All right, you've got 3 or 4 bad ones.
Why this?
I think it's a multitude of everything now. This is where I think
you're missing a really important part, which is you were talking about individual players, right? You're talking about individual players, and what I've been saying, and I think what Sav's been saying, is it's about the whole squad and about the quality of the squad. So
I agree.
As soon as Kudus is out injured, like the level, the average level goes from there to there in that position. Let's face it, left wing, our average level, God knows where it is. It's through the floor, right? Dreadful. And I saw so many people lauding Tell yesterday. Tell lost the ball for one of their goals, and it was one of these classic unforced errors.
But we're focusing a lot on the bad players here, though.
And he passed the ball.
The whole team by Tell.
To a Villa player. Our players, our squad isn't good enough. You said Spence. I agree with you. Spence is a decent footballer, but the problem is we're playing him at left back because the squad is rubbish because we haven't got a left back. So we're playing him out of position, and
Yeah,
he's
but I'm
giving
not
the
saying
ball
that.
away. Wait a minute, mate. Wait a minute, mate. And he's giving the ball away because he's having to be played out of position because our recruitment has been so bad that we don't have any left backs, let alone one that can play over Spence, or any players, any left backs who can play. So I'd love to see Spence playing right back because I think he'd be absolute dynamite, but we never see it because the squad that's been put together is rubbish. So you can pick individual players and say
I agree.
this guy's good. Van der Ven. Van der
but
Ven's great. Van der Ven's
can we look at-
fantastic.
Rain, can we look at the other part of this as well, though, right? Our fans are very good at plucking players and going, that player's better than that player of that club, right? But we seem to miss the most important thing about the word team, right? We've not built a team or a structure for years. So when people, like I said at the beginning of this show, I don't know if you're watching, I said, I don't actually think our squad is better than Brentford's. And people go, oh, Brentford. The point is, Brentford have been built to be Brentford. Brentford have been built over the last 10 years, 15 years with a structure and an ethos in mind. So when they bring in a player, right, they bring in Jordan Henderson. Now, we bring in Paulinho. Now, it's not that we all go, oh, my God, Jordan Henderson's much better than Paulinho. It's not that. They've bought with a specific plan in mind. They buy the right players, square pegs, square holes. So the players that come into Brentford are going into a well-organised, well-drilled unit, right? So when we've got idiot fans that just say stupid stuff, right? Like, oh, look what Andrews is doing at Brentford because for this one moment in time, they're fifth, right? They're not understanding. He's gone in and picked up a very well-structured squad that's all been built with an identity and a plan. Our manager, and by the way, it doesn't matter that it's Frank. Again, I keep saying this, and James, I know you know I say, right? The next manager, by the way, is picking up exactly the same thing with loads of players that have been bought for different managers with no real structure or plan. Now, what we're seeing here is we are seeing a consistency with the clubs that have had their managers for a long time that tend to do well. How long now has Hertzler been at Brighton? These are his players, right? Hertzler was brought in with the same ethos and philosophy as the manager he replaced. Slight different nuances, right? But he's the same type, same players that are going to be bought because the recruitment hasn't changed. The structure, the plan is all in place. Spurs, we bring in whoever we bring in as manager, and we go on, make this broken squad that has all been built for different people, go and play good football and make this a team. The other clubs have built teams. We just want to make a team out of what we've already got. That is the only reason why I want to see Frank given his own footballers. So we then turn around and go, yeah, this hasn't worked after 18 months, 2 years. He's had 3 windows. He's had 12 new players. It's not worked. You've not built anything. But this at the moment isn't his squad. This is a really badly put together squad. And people go, we should be seeing more. Then why did they finish 17th? Why over the last 3 years has our average in the league been 15th? If we should be doing better. Why?
So let me ask you a question on that then. There's 2 things I want to ask. Do you not think that Frank should be doing better than he is then?
No. I think he's
Not
doing
with
exactly.
this
I think he's
group.
doing. I think.
So you think he's doing a good job? You think he's doing the best he can?
No. I think Frank is doing the job that he can do. I think he's doing exactly the job that he can do.
I disagree with that. The reason being is, for me, I agree with what you're saying about all of the players. I agree with we've said this. I said to you on the last show, look, he needs January. He needs to have 2 or 3, 4 players, and then he's got 8 players, for example. Then I expect to see something. So I said that on the last show. You can only judge him fully once he's had 7, 8 players in the door, because that's the majority of his squad. So that's how I feel on that. But if you look at yesterday, I actually flicked over to the warm up, the Tottenham YouTube channel. They show you the warm up. 25 minutes of that was defending set pieces. That for me is the problem. I feel like there's so much reliant on defending or attacking a set piece that he's almost forgot that we can play football to some extent.
I don't think these players can play football. That's
yeah,
the
but
difference.
I disagree, because if Porro's right back and Kudos is right wing, but you keep going back. You should be able to see some sort of pattern. So for me, you had Kudos and Porro on the right side the whole start of the season. Xavi Simons was in the middle. Paulinho was CDM. I would expect to see some really good link-up play. Porro overlapping, him cutting inside, and you could go, "Oh, that kind of works." That's fair. But my opinion is,
with
I think that the footballers
link-up play. That's
I personally don't think Porro and Kudos are poor footballers.
So why aren't Burnley, right? Burnley, for me, you watch Burnley play. They put in maximum effort every game. Their players are bought into the ideology. They're clearly playing for Scotty Parker, right? But you watch them play. There's no real link-up play. They're hard-working footballers. They're
in a different position to us. We're not Burnley.
Yeah, I'm not saying we are Burnley, but my point is, their players, again, aren't good enough to play really nice football. They've not bought that. We've not bought that in our squad. We've not.
No, I agree.
That play really.
But we should see something. We should see something. We can't just give Frank a scot-free pass and say it doesn't matter, whatever happens with all the players. We can't be doing that. For me personally, I haven't seen nothing since the moment he come in. Since now, he has had 30+ games since he's been here. He's had a long time.
Every 3 days.
I haven't seen nothing since the first game against PSG. That's the only game I kind of thought, oh, here we go. Yeah, I like what he's doing here. He tweaks. Yeah, but I don't care. I want to see something. I want to see something.
You said it yourself, mate.
As a fan, you don't care. As a coach,
no, but from my opinion. I
get that. But as a coach and a manager, you ask any coach or manager, if you're playing every 3 days and this is the level of player you've got, right? You think Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, they play every 3 or 4 days and they are rotating players out of quality and bringing players in of quality. We don't even have a quality 11. And then when we're rotating for the midweek games, we're bringing in people like Odegaard, Gray, right? We're bringing in people like Ben Davis. We're bringing in Dane Scarlett had to come on the pitch yesterday. We didn't even have a midfielder on the bench. And then fans are getting to the end of the game and going, I can't believe that we've not played well. Really? So you can't believe that 11 you saw didn't play well? Really? Because if that 11...
I agree with what you're saying, but you can't give that... You can't... Just because of Tel or Odegaard, that doesn't sort of let go of the Xavi Simons and Kudos. We should still be seeing bits and pieces from those guys as well.
Sure.
Okay, a team, okay. But all right. So how I would put it is say, for example, you had my son, like I said earlier, if I have my son's team and he plays right wing, I expect him to be doing his job time and time again. I see Kudos taking a few extra touches. No, within reason, because you're still...
You can't just do your job if everyone around you can't do theirs. That's not how life works.
So what do? You just do nothing.
No, what happens? No, wait a minute, Sam.
Because that's exactly what is happening.
Let me answer you, right? Let me answer you, mate. What happens is when you don't have an effective team, you don't have a left winger. Let's use a hypothetical. Let's just say you don't have a left winger. Yeah, it's a position that the opponents don't need to bother with. Do you know what the opponents do? They triple up on your right winger. Let's just use that hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
And then that right winger, who's actually really quite good, he gets completely nullified.
Oh, I agree.
Now that hypothetical situation, that right winger is not underperforming. He's just being nullified. Now, I'd hate to be in that position. I'd hate to be a team that has got themselves into such a bad level of recruitment that they've got themselves a team that is ineffective and not working. You've said so many good things, mate, and you're not linking them all together. You mentioned Aaron Lennon.
I feel like I'm just saying.
I've been quiet for a long time.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
I've been quiet for a long time, and I've tried to interrupt and then stopped. You mentioned Aaron Lennon, right? Aaron Lennon was a freaking specialist. And do you know what we don't buy? We don't buy specialists.
Great.
We don't buy players for the position that we need them to play in. Archie Gray is a great little technical player, but he's not
Is he?
He's not.
Sorry, Rain.
Is
I
he? Well,
think
okay,
he
you
is.
can argue about that, but what we can agree with is he's not a specialist in any position
That's
that's
true.
actually needed, right? So we've got Tell and Odebear. Do you know what? You can argue about their technical ability, but what we can't argue about is the fact that they're not specialists in a position. We haven't bought them for a specific position. We got Moani. We bought him. Everywhere he's played up front, right? And we bought him, and we're having to play him left wing, right wing. Heaven knows we're going to play him at left back before too long, right? And yes, we play him up front, and he's toilet.
Threat.
Right?
A threat.
It's a threat.
The
no
point
one.
is, our
To us.
recruitment for our squad, for our team, is absolute toilet. And
I
that
agree
is the
with everything you're
problem.
saying. I agree with everything you're saying. I really do. But I do feel like this show is a bit of it's all players and no one of the manager. That's how I feel. That's why I'm trying to kind of add that balance. I agree with all of that.
I've not mentioned him once. I've not
No,
mentioned him
and
once.
I'm just trying to be fair.
I
Like
think he's
I said,
struggling.
from my opinion, to be practicing set pieces before a cup game for me,
Yeah,
you should be going. How I feel is I feel Frank worries so much about the other team that we have no identity. Our whole focus is can we stop the other team, whether that's right or wrong. I'm not the manager, but I would like.
I would do that as well with this shit squad. I would do
Yeah,
that as
that's
well.
fair, and that's fair. But
As I've said, if you can control games of football with the players you've got, half the battle is done, right? Right now, if Tottenham Hotspur had Moussa Dembele and Wanyama in midfield, right, with this manager, do you think we'd be losing the ball every 5 seconds? Do you think we wouldn't have more possession? Do you think we wouldn't be able to control games more and dictate
no, I
the
agree.
flow, right? All like I said before this game, I'm going to do some super chats in a minute, people. I haven't forgotten, right? Look, Frank for me is struggling. He is struggling. I think he's coming. I think it's worse than he thought. Right? I think it's worse than he thought, and I think he's struggling. I think he's struggling with having to rotate every 3 days without the players to do it. Therefore, he's trying too many different things. Right? He's struggling to keep partnerships on the pitch because everyone's getting injured every 5 seconds. Again, we go to West Ham next week. Now Richie's out injured. Right?
I think he's got no
he's
confidence in the players to bring them on as subs because he's got nobody on the bench.
But that's my point, Rain, right? I think he's struggling. I'm not taking away from that. But do you know what, James? What I'd at least like to see before everyone goes balls deep on it's the manager's dreadful. We have not seen this manager once have anywhere near a fully fit team. Not once, right? Every other manager we've had, we saw Jose when he had everyone fit. We saw Ange when he had everyone fit. We saw Conte when he had everyone fit. I think we've got a poor squad and yet still not even seen Frank when he's allowed to have everyone fit or even buy his own players. 2 of his 4 signings have been loans. They're not his players, right?
No, I agree. And if that is if we can't control a game of football, this is how I would look at things. If we can't control a game of football, I'm okay with that as well. I understand that. I'm fine. But then let's go with a flat back 5 and hit people on a counter attack. That's how I would. That's where for me I feel like
the stadium would lose its mind, mate. The stadium.
Yeah, but that's for me.
Who have we got to hit teams on their counter attack with, right? Because I saw it last week, right? When we were trying to hit Sunderland, every time we counter attacked, Tell, Odegaard, Richie, Mawant, they fluffed every single counter attack. They fluffed.
I agree. Right? Yeah, I agree. Look, I agree.
If we were sitting and counter attacking like we did under Conte, when you've got Kulu, Son, and Kane on the counter attack, I'm all for it. But right now, who are you counter attacking with? Who is that link-up bloke that counter-attacks from back to front? Who's the ball-playing midfielder that goes, you know what, I'm going to get that ball from back to front really? We don't have it.
Couldn't Xabi do that? You don't think Xabi could pick the ball up and play those through balls? Because he did yesterday.
I think he's trying. I think he's trying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
10, yes, but I'm talking about we pick it up from deep. The only person we've got that can pass a football is Romero from deep.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, right? I want to see better. I want to see more, right?
And I also think it's the players as well. I'm not saying that none of this is on the player. Sure. I've said the whole time.
I just think that the problem we've got is, and I've said this before, Rain, we've had this chat offline as well. I almost think now Frank needs to get sacked for a new manager to come in. And if we don't buy any more players in this window, I think fans are going to be very frustrated by what they see of the next 6 months of the manager coming in as well, because that new manager coming in is going to look around and go, oh my God, I've got 10 players injured. I've got no left backs. I've got no right wingers. I've got no left wingers. I've got no goal scorer. I've got no ball playing number 8. I've got one left-footed centre half. My goalkeeper can't command a box. That's all I want to see.
On that, yeah, on that, I agree. But at some point, I know Frank seems to come out and say, I don't just want anyone, I want my players. And I, like we said last time, completely agree with that in hindsight. But at the moment, if your player is I don't know, Aguiluz, he might not be available, and we need better than Tell, otherwise we're going to drop down. So there's going to have to be some middle ground. But he keeps saying, no, I'll wait. We need long-term and short-term. And I agree with what he's saying. The other thing that I disagree with Frank is, and look, I actually want Frank to have the season. I want him to stay and prove a point or not. The end of the season, the way I look at it, if he's sacked now, I don't think anyone's going to come in and do anything that we're not going down. We're not going to win anything. We're not going to go anywhere.
No. If Frank goes, the next manager, I want everybody to get on his back from game one, like they have with Frank.
I'm speaking for me.
No.
Yeah.
If the next manager coming in, I want to see us playing free-flowing football from game one, because everyone's telling me that these players are better than they are, that they're capable. Yeah. I want to see it from game one with the new manager. Now, that's me being really childish and facetious, of course, because I know that the next manager coming in is, I said to you, James, at the beginning of this show, let's say Spurs right now sack Frank and bring in Iraola. I'm going to write a letter to Iraola saying, I'm so sorry, mate, about what you're about to walk into. I'm really sorry, Iraola. That, by the way, mate, the fans are going to give you absolutely no fucking time. All right? I'm really sorry.
So for me, what I was going to say, that for me, I've said to him, he's got the season for me. And we've said before, I want him to have 7-8 players. And then by the end of the season, I want to see something. Otherwise, it's game over. It's kaput. So if he was to get 2 or 3 players now, for me, he would have 7 players of his own. I'd expect to see something with the likes of Romero and Van der Ven on top of that. But personally, I feel like I don't know if this is true. So I'm just saying what I've seen. But the likes of Spence ignoring him, Van der Ven ignoring him, there's been quite a few issues like that. And he's kind of publicly come out and gone, yeah, we've sorted it, blah, 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 blah. But then for me, Bissouma's probably our best midfielder at what we're asking for, everything that we're asking for. He's probably the best one at getting the ball, turning, driving forward, or the number 8. For me, he's probably our best number 8. He was late for training, so we're told, and he's been banished from the squad before he got injured.
That's not strictly true, though. See, again,
okay, that's what I heard.
This is where the truth gets distorted. You've got to remember, Bissouma had like that 2-3 month injury as well. Like
that was after, though, wasn't it? That was after.
Yeah, but at first he did the right thing with Bissouma, right? Like,
I agree.
I'm the manager, you don't disrespect me. Since then, he's been injured. He's now got over his injury and gone to the AFCON. By the way, I fully expect to see Bissouma straight back in that 11 for Saturday.
So I agree with what you're saying in that respect, but he did go for about a month or so where he didn't get given a game.
Sure.
For me, I think what he did is the right thing. That's exactly what I would do. But then when you have Spence doing what he did and Van der Ven doing what he did, I feel like, hold on, you've made an example of one and not the other. Even like where Romero come out and called everyone liars. Really, we've dealt with that behind the scenes. Well,
what if, hypothetical, what if the new manager comes in, nothing changes performance-wise? By the way, I don't, like when we're talking league position, I don't really care, because right now, the difference between Champions League and where we are in 14th is 2 wins, right? So it's like
of course.
Everyone's talking like we're tailed off in 14th. We're 1 win away from top half and 2 wins away from Champions League. So it's silly for me. What do we do if the new manager comes in and nothing changes with this squad, by the way? Not if the new manager comes in and gets given 3 really good players. What do we do if the new manager comes in, nothing changes, those players are still fighting the fans, they're ignoring that manager at full time after a few months? At what stage are we going to say these players need to be replaced?
Can I just address Bissouma quickly? Because I think this is a classic case of a player getting way, way, way better when he's not actually playing. I think
agreed.
I tell you what I remember about Basuma, and I do care about him being late. I think in any job, in any business, being on time is the absolute barest minimum that you can achieve. Absolutely barest minimum, especially under Ange, when he was literally told you could be leadership in this in this group, mate, and the next day he turns up, half an hour late, and get your head in the game. But what I remember with Basuma is, as soon as teams worked out that if you double press him, what he does is he turns away from the first man and just runs straight into the second man. That's what happened against Luton. That's what happened against Arsenal. He got double pressed. Partey pressed him. He did his little flicky turn, and he ran straight into Odegaard, who was behind, straight into an Arsenal player behind him, who just took the ball off him, and they went and scored. Basuma is not as good as people are now saying.
But there's no way you're not picking Basuma over Archie Gray.
Oh, well, see, that I agree with. Sorry, to go back to this whole Archie Gray's a fantastic technical.
There's no way, yeah.
Do you know what? Look,
Archie Gray or Bergvall. Bergvall's the same for me. He goes in the Archie Gray category. There's no way you're not picking Basuma over any of those. For me, level. I mean, I agree with what you're saying about the double pressure. I agree. Look, I don't. This is where I kind of try to come back as level as possible. Look, I'm trying to judge all these players at the bottom of the level that they are. Who's slightly better at the bottom? They're still all at the bottom. I said last season my number one pick was Conor Gallagher, and I got laughed at. He was my number one. But
I'll take him all day.
Where they are here, for me, I said it the same. When everyone went on about Mikey Moore in the Europa League, when everyone was talking about Bergvall and Gray, I said, these guys have done nothing. They are all rubbish for me until they prove it. That's how I work in life. Prove it to me, and then I'll be all right. Prove to me you're a decent guy, and I'll be your mate. Prove to me that you're this, and for any way of life, prove that you're whatever you're worth, and then we can go forward. For me, Basuma, Bentancur, and whoever you want to put are light years ahead of what we've got. But we are so fragile as a fan base, and we've been starved of absolutely everything. That the moment you do see a backheel from Bergvall, and I think, God, that was nice, and that is your reaction now. Whereas before it would be like, people always talk about Brennan Johnson. Well, you see one game of kudos, Brennan Johnson's disappeared into thin air. There's a reason for that. And I think it would be the same with Basuma, Gray. I mean, Gray never got a chance until everyone left, and now he's getting a chance. There's a reason for that. So I agree with everything that you're saying.
Conor Gallagher, mate, is a perfect example. Average is somewhere around here, and he goes up like this. These are his performances, and so
I think he's better than that.
So you get well, okay. The point is, you get very little variability. You get really solid performances. It's why everybody loves Davies. He may be down here, but he does this, right? What's he called? 6.5 Davies. But you just get that performance from him. But what you get with what you get with kids, what you get with less experienced players, it's just natural. It's just life. It's like if you've got a trainee, right? You'll get them doing a good job and then not so good job. Because they're working out. They're working it out to here.
Yeah, but you need to see something.
And that's where we are. We get Bergvall does something nice, but then against Newcastle, he ball watches, loses his man, and that midfielder is free and scores from outside the box. And everybody goes, Frank is telling them not to. No. Bergvall just lost his head because he's doing this.
Well, there was the game yesterday. A lot of people picked out. I don't know who it was they blamed for the 2 goals yesterday. But if you actually watch back at the 2 goals yesterday, both were a massive part of that was Archie Gray losing the ball and not following his man. Massive part. People went, no, but I mean, me and Savva, I think we agree on this, so I don't want to talk for you, but I said I do not judge.
You can talk for me.
Yeah, well, it's about all of them. But I think we are the same. I don't judge anybody by their age. I really do not give a shit. I judge that player by when they put that shirt on. It's all right, you're a Tottenham player now. And that's how I judge my players. I don't judge that he's 17, 19, 20, 34. We could go and sign Harry Kane back now, and I wouldn't be going, Coys, way past it. Well, I'd go, show me what you got. Right, we know what you've got. People go, yeah, but you said you didn't want no kids. Well, I'll take your mouth because I don't look at the age part. I go, he's a player. I'll take him because he's a good player. People go, but give him time. He's a kid. No, I don't care. Go and have your time. I know they're near you, but Charlton's, your Norwiches, your Cambridges, whoever you need your time with, go and have your time. Your Rangers, like Mikey Moore, do your time. You don't get time at Tottenham Hotspur. It's not a club that you can come in and have 3 years to develop, and then we sell. Well, maybe we are. Maybe we were wrong. But it's not a club that you come and have 3 years to develop, and then we sell you for bigger money. We used to be, if you're good enough for Tottenham Hotspur, you play. And if you wasn't good enough, you go out on loan, or you used to go into the B team and stuff and play. So for me, look, it's just not acceptable. The level is so far down that our Spurs fans are now picking players that are average and going, he might become good.
James,
Tell an Odegaard.
Hang on. James, this is bang on. And after I've said what I'm about to say, I do need to do some super chats because they're piling up.
Sorry.
This is absolutely bang on. The problem is our level in the last 6-7 years has dropped so much, James, without it's actually quite clever because where they've been doing it gradually, many people haven't really noticed. And that is why they still talk, James, like we're a top 4 team. They still talk like it's the Poch side. And honestly, the number of times somebody messages me when their favourite player of the month does something, the number of people, Gray makes a pass and I get, oh, did you see that pass? Right? Oh, did you see that cross from Tell? Right? Oh, good goal. Who's apologising to Tell because he scored a goal? What? What the fuck are we doing? When are we actually allowed to sit here and just go, this is like, it doesn't matter which manager we like or not. When are we actually going to turn around and go, this is a fucking mess, right? This is a mess. We keep buying kids, right? And then we're told we're not allowed to judge them. All right, if we're not allowed to judge them, stop buying them and playing them. If you don't want me to judge them, right? Every year, a different player, right, that we've seen be average for years and years. He gets a reprieve with a new manager. Let's see what this manager can do with this player. Every year. Ben Davis, Ndombele had it for years. Oh, this manager, he'll be better. This manager, Lo Celso, Ryan Sessegnon, Eric Dyer. We're now going to do that with all of these players. For me, these are, sorry for the rant, this is a very, very average squad that is getting worse year on year on year. It's lost all its superstars. It's lost any of its X factor and its wow factor. And now we are, again, don't care who the manager is. We are now seeing a football team that doesn't have enough to say we are better than the other mid-table teams around us. But we use the name of Tottenham Hotspur to have that arrogance or belief that we should be miles above these teams. We used to be miles above these teams because we had those stars. We had those players, right? When we were always above, we had an average team with Kane and Son in it, but we were always going to be miles above your Brightons and your Fulhams and your Palaces because they didn't have a Kane and Son. Now we are level with those football clubs because we don't have a Kane or Son anymore. Mm-hmm. We have Richarlisons. We have Tells, we have Odegaards, we have Grays, Bentancurs, right? Our best player on the pitch yesterday is a DM, right? That's where we've got to. The best 2 players at this club right now are a DM and a centre-half. We've lost the wow factor, right? We lost. See, again, someone like this, Savva, you're acting like the board now. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I genuinely don't get how idiots like this don't get it. Sack the manager. Sack the manager. I don't give a shit. I'm actually defending the point here of whoever the manager is, this club is a mess. Let me do the super chats. Sorry, that rant went on a bit longer than I expected it to. Mate, listen. See now, when I know now that you're trolling, so I'm just going to block you if you're going to do this. Right? We have leveled out. We have leveled out with the average clubs around us. We have leveled out to that level of average, right? The data over the last 3 years is not lying to you, right? So sack the manager. I don't care, but no one can tell me who's going to come in and fix this, right? Sure, Mark, but you, again, someone like this, I'll get to this in a minute, right? You're not getting it. Who can steer us to calmer water? Who? Because we got on Ange's back. We got on Nuno's back. Conte, Jose. I just don't get it. I don't get what people... Hey, anyway, super chats. Big up to Kiri Late, I believe that is. Kiri Late, who's become a YouTube member. Big up to you. Thank you very much for joining and being a member. Really appreciate you. And you've come back in with a super chat and said, Savva, why don't we bid on Solis, Akliouche, Agahawa, Gallagher? No news about that. We are always just interested. Mate, this is half the problem. We are in a transfer window right now. The owners are sitting and watching these players and aren't buying new ones. Nothing will change. Nothing will change until it changes. Big up to you. Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you. I said, morning, Savva. Poor squad, but playing people out of position on many occasions doesn't help. I go back to what Rain said just now. The squad has not been built properly, hence why people are being played out of position. We don't have a left winger. Mawani, can you go there, please? We don't have right wingers right now. All right, Bergvall, could you go out there for a little bit, please? All right, we don't have left backs. Spence, could you go there, please? We don't have a ball playing midfielder. Archie, could you play there? This is the point, right? If you build a squad properly, you don't have to play people out of position. This is, again, not rocket science. Big up to you, Aaron. Big up to Tin Man. Very generous. Said, I now want the club to come out of a statement of our intent. Don't we all, mate? Don't we all? Even if we bring in Poch or Klopp, nothing will change. Absolutely. This board need to show ambition or just sell up. Stop conning the fans. Exactly. That's where I'm at, Tim Man. But everyone just thinks it's backing Frank. Sack him. I don't give a shit. This sums it up. You can bring in Klopp. You think Klopp's going to want to manage this lot? Big up to you, Tim Man. Thank you very much. Big up to Simon Bergen, been a member for 6 months. Thank you very much for your support. Said we need to reset from top to bottom, which is absolutely what people like Rain and I have been saying. Reset the whole thing. Big up to you. Big up to George, who gifted 5 memberships. Very, very generous. Whoever they were gifted to, I'm sure they said thank you. And I'm saying thank you, George. Really appreciate you. By the way, Derby County have just gone 1-0 up against Leeds United. So lots of big, giant killings maybe going on. Big up to you, George. Really appreciate you, my friend. Big up to Tin Man. So generous again. Said Richie, 55. Solanke, 65. Odeberg, 25. Tell, 30. Gray, 40. I could go on. Shocking recruitment. Continue like this and we'll end up in the championship. Tin Man, as I said, look at this list of players. These have all been bought in the last 3 years. It's ridiculous. These are the signings I would expect from a Fulham. These are the signings I expect from Wolves. But this is what Tottenham have bought, and then we wonder why we're so average. Big up to you, Tim Man. Appreciate that. Big up to Mark. Said our club is run by Baldrick. Oh, mate. I don't know who runs our club, Mark, if I'm completely honest with you. Thank you for your support, as always, Mark. These
it's not being run.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the point. We're going to talk about the transfer window in a minute. The good thing about Frank is that he's been such a disaster that the media is looking at the people above him and wondering about their expertise. No, I see the opposite. What's actually happening is everybody now is blaming everything on Frank, and it's almost taking away again. Look in the chat. How many people are saying the club is run badly, or how many people are going, get Frank out? Why? Because that's the easy thing to do. Getting Frank out is a really easy thing to do. Changing the culture and buying better players is the difficult thing. Big up to you, Ledley's Knees. Big up to Mark. Thank you very much, as always. So look at the level of players Man City buy. Not world-class every window, but a quality squad. Players, we don't do that. Mate, I won't even look at Man City. Again, look at our opponents last night. Look at our opponents last night. They've not gone out and bought anyone world-class, but they've built a really good team, really good squad full of men. Look at the levels. They've got people like Morgan Rogers, while we've got Tells and Odebergs. The levels are mad. We've got Archie Gray in midfield. They had John McGinn, Glenn Kamara, Yuri Tielemans. The levels are massive.
And players who understand their position. And
exactly. And then if they go and get Conor Gallagher as well, a player that half our fan base don't want, watch how Unai Emery gets Conor Gallagher playing. Big up to you, Mark. Sorry about this, guys. There's loads of these, so I'll rattle through quickly. Mike, big up to you, my man. Said anyone who has ever said Levy was a genius businessman, should issue a public apology. He has turned us into West Ham, but with bigger debt. Listen, I've always said what he did financially, he was a genius. From a football perspective, he's a mess. And he's left out. Look, I don't even care about Daniel Levy, but what we're seeing right now is if Daniel Levy was all the problem, I'm not seeing anything different right now. I'm seeing nothing different. Big up to you, Mike. Much love as always. Big up to Jordan. Always super, super generous, Jordan. Said, only this club think adding and stockpiling kids into this toxic shit show is the answer. What a great sentence. What have we done already, Jordan, this window? We've gone and added another kid, haven't we? This club is on its knees with a depleted squad. If the club don't want to back Frank, then sack him now or start signing experience. Bang on. Bang on. Either give this man some... Go on, mate.
It's almost like abuse, mate.
It is. It is. Either back him or sack him. It's really simple. It's either you're going to give this manager some players to work with. Like, I'll ask James this in a minute because I do have more super chats to do. If this window, Tottenham went and bought Lookman, Conor Gallagher, and Yao Gomez from Wolves, I would turn around and go, right, Frank, you've now been given 3 very good footballers there. I want to see the levels go from here to there, right? I'm not expecting miracles, but if we don't, and we give him 19-year-old kids, and now fans are blaming Frank for wanting 19-year-old, we're not learning. Big up to you, Jordan. Really appreciate you, buddy. Justin, I don't know how we're saying this, but big up to you, my man. Says bad players make good players worse, but good players can't make bad players better. Where we are because where the level of quality is too low. Problem is, if you've got so many bad players in a team, everyone gets dragged down. I completely agree with you. Thank you very much. Ian JD, God, there's loads of these. Thank you so much. You lot are very generous today. Ian JD said, at Brentford, Frank had a wonderful environment succeeding. Here it's a shit show, which doesn't allow Frank or any manager to reach their best. Ian, most of our fans don't want to look at that. Look at what he created over 7 years. Not just him, but him, the owner, the directors of football, look what they created. Now, he's in a toxic club, right? And he's going to take all of the blame for 10 years of really bad recruitment. Big up to you, Ian. Really appreciate that. Big up to Savcap. Said, why is it okay for us to say the squad is shit, but Thomas Frank can't? Oh, mate.
Because he's got to walk. Because he's got to walk in the room with them the next day, mate. That's why.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure Savcap, you must have managed people in your life. You can't publicly come out and say they're shit. You just don't. Big up to you. Big up to Jordan. Very generous again. So when we signed Njian and Kudu, at least they were cheap backups to world-class footballers. Now we have Unji type footballers in the 11. Yes. Poch's squad players are now what we are putting in the 11. Yes. Yeah, yes. This is my point. And then everyone acknowledged that Unji and Kudu weren't good. But now everyone's making excuses for Tells and Odebers and Archie Grays because that's what we've got. Big up to you, Jordan. Really appreciate that. Last 5. Big up to Rob Brown. He's been a member for 17 months. Said if West Ham strengthen, we could be in trouble. Mate, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. I can't see if they escape. Fair play to whoever gets them out of that trouble. Big up to Craig Fenners. Said at least Baldrick had a plan. He did, yeah. Baldrick did have a plan, didn't he? Big up to you, Craig. Very generous. Big up to Aussie Coys, who said, stop blaming Frank, blame the board. Look, I think there's blame pie to go everywhere. My whole point when people keep saying to me about backing Frank is you can't just sack the manager. The word just is really important in that sentence. Yeah, you can sack him. Nothing's going to change. Big up to you. Big up to Ollie B. Kirk. Said 6 years ago, we were in a Champions League final and Villa was in a championship. Yep. Now, Villa have had 6 years of building a club. We've had 6 years of breaking one. Absolutely spot on. Big up, Ollie. Lost 2. Andy Lester said, our fan base have accepted poor players, no standards. I think a lot of newer fans have lowered the expectations of the fan base as a whole. Big up, Savva. Do you know what it is, Andy? We spend so much time debating Ange, Frank, Lang, Paratici, Levy, Vinay, that the standard of players just seems to be going under the radar of so many people. Big up to you, Andy. Really appreciate that. And last but not least, Richest Man says, I think the Sousa deal proves the problem is bigger than Daniel Levy. Well, I'll start off with the guys asking this question. Thank you so much, Richest Man. You lot very generous. Look, let me start with you, Ray, and I'll go to James. The first deal we've done is a 19-year-old left back. He could be Roberto Carlos. He could be Gilberto. We have no idea. But Rain, doesn't that again sum up where we are as a football club and what our ambitions actually are?
I mean, I just think I used the word abuse earlier, and we're taking this 19-year-old kid. I'm sorry, I'm old enough to be his granddad, right? We're taking this 19-year-old kid from the other side of the world, right? Literally the other side of the world, to a new country, a new culture, a new club, a new common language, a new style and way of playing football. And we are going to bring him into a club that is, I mean, have a look in chat, is in an absolute mess, right? And we're going to bring him in to do what? What is this kid going to do? Anyone who's expecting this kid to do anything in the next 6 months is Delulu, right? Now, he may well turn out to be Gareth Bale Mark II. Who knows?
Sure.
Who knows? But what we do know is the risk of bringing him to our club is huge, not just to us in terms of getting him on that pitch and him being able to play in the Premier League. You see what it does? It chews players up and spits them out. It's also a real risk to him, right? And I make James absolutely bang on.
Oh, don't say that.
Archie, well, he's right quite a lot of the time. I mean, he's got so much confidence in the bank.
I've always liked you, to be fair.
After his Milani thing, that it's Bergvall, Gray, Odobert, Tell. None of these players should be playing for us in the Premier League. They should be learning their trade and they should be working out how not to do this, but to do this, like Conor Gallagher has done, right? And we're now going to bring this young kid to our club, and he's going to do this. His level may be up here, but he's going to do this. And our fan base is going to lose their shit over it. And it's absolutely bonkers. I will just say, we do know that Lange doesn't publicly announce what's going on. So we're living in a vacuum. And I had on a stream the other day, somebody said to me, it's been 7 days. How do you not know that things are happening in the background? And I said, I tell you what I do know. We haven't got players now. That's what I do know. And you don't know what's going on either. So until we see the players and we see what's right, I'm just going to comment on where we are. And then we went and got a 19-year-old Brazilian.
But I don't think it's fair that we're kind of judging this kid. It seems to be like we're judging this kid before he's even played it. He may be Roberto Carlos. No, but it's like, and we've went and got another 19-year-old. Who cares? Show me what you've got.
Yeah, but I think the point is, James, right? I had this out with someone the other day when they said to my reaction video of buying this kid, they were like, "Oh, you've judged him," and I was like, "No. I'm not judging him. This club has bought so many young players over the last 3, 4, 5 years that I'm judging the strategy. I'm judging the plan. Yeah. Right? This kid could come in. I've not said he's bad or good. I've not seen him. I've seen one compilation video which really only shows me his crossing. It didn't really show his tackling or position. It just showed me his crossing, which looked good. Right? So I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers, James, that makes a video going, "Oh my God, this boy is generating." I don't know. But the point is, as a club, we all acknowledge we're a mess. So why wouldn't we go and buy some senior pros that have been there, seen it and done it, and that can calm the dressing room down? Why can't we go and bring in some senior pros that other senior pros, right? Like Van der Ven, like Romero. Oh, thanks, Stewie. Like he stood on my temperamental button and it's just gone. The light's gone off. Bloody pugs. And And sorry, I completely lost the trail of what I was saying there.
So the other senior pros can actually work alongside,
Right.
rather than all of a sudden a great player like Van der Ven now has an extra responsibility on his left-hand side.
Right. That's my point. So Van der Ven comes into training, like, you know, players that we're looking at and saying, oh, they don't want to sign a new contract type players. And they go, oh, there's Conor Gallagher. I know him. He's played for England. He plays for Atletico Madrid. He was the captain of Chelsea. Oh, I know him. He's an international. This player. No, what we're doing is we're going, right, here's another kid. Who's going to welcome this kid into the fold? Right, here's another kid that we're going to tell the fans, have patience. In a few years, they'll come good. Yada, yada, yada. So my problem isn't Sousa. I hope he's the greatest left back that Brazil has ever produced, because they've produced a few. My problem is we have not learnt, James. We've not learnt our lesson again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I'm just hoping that he's going to come and just be the answer rather than potential. So it's kind of, it is one of those. Look, it is what it is. We know how it's gone before. So it's kind of naturally we kind of go, you know, and that's where I kind of feel. You know what I feel is with what you're saying with sort of like the kids, or not even the kids, but it's like, you know, the bottom of the pile players that we're signing. When you charge top quality, you have to provide something. You have to either, you know, what I believe they're providing is a entertainment stadium. So people go in there going, wow, this is amazing. Nice food, nice people, nice, you know, it's a good evening of entertainment in that respect. What they're not doing is obviously contributing to what's happening on the pitch. So for me, I feel like that we are half Frank out, half Enoch out, but I do feel like the Frank outs are also looking at Enoch for the first time, where it was always Ange or Daniel Levy. Well, now Daniel Levy's gone, it was Frank, and then now I think it's, well, hold on, these players ain't good enough, we ain't good enough, we're paying top money for what we've got. Something has to give, because people will just stop going. I mean, we've seen it with West Ham. Their ticket prices ain't even that bad or bad in comparison to us. And their stadium's half empty. So it is a matter of time before we go, had enough. And I said the other day in a group chat, I actually want Frank to stay for that reason. I think that it will get that bad that it will force, they'll sack him and then move on to the next guy. And then for me, the next guy will probably be Pochettino, whether you want him or not. And then I feel like the same will happen. And then I think everybody will be onto the board. So it's kind of one of those for me that it's just that where we are is where we are. There is no way out.
I mean, James,
unless you start buying quality, there is no way out. So everything has to be on the board now. I mean, me and Savva said last transfer window, I remember, because I got a parking ticket in Sainsbury's because I was there for about 3 hours that I was meant to come on for 20 minutes for. And we said, it was like a week before they went away, or no, a few days before they went away to the Korean tour. And we said, look, they have to have players in by Friday. There's no excuse not to have Friday. And a day went by, and we spent hours just saying it's not acceptable. For me, people go, January is a hard window. Okay, well, how comes Palace had that deal signed, done for Brennan Johnson instantly? Whether you think he's good enough or not, they notified this is the guy we want. It was done the moment the transfer window opened. It was done. So therefore, it's not as hard as people say. You know, we heard exactly the same thing about this left back. Oh, well, they've offered €8 million, but they want 15. Yeah, well, we'll go back with a 12 then. So nothing's changed. It is one of those situations where unless you start backing this club is on a one-way ticket to the Championship. It might not be this season, it might not be next season, but it'll be the season after that, because we're already hearing Van der Ven ain't going to sign a new deal. Romero isn't happy. You know, Porro ain't going to be happy. You can see by his expressions that he's not going to be too happy. Kudos and Xavi ain't going to stay around for long, if that's the case. So you are kind of dicing with unless one of these players struck gold, which so far I don't think they are in your Bergvals, your Greys, your Tells, your Odebergs, you're on a one-way ticket to the Championship. Whether it's a year, 2 years, or 3 years, you're going to be there if you carry on going how you're going.
James, you and I know people. You and I know people from our group chats who tried to give away their Villa tickets and couldn't give them away.
No chance. Yeah.
In fact, somebody said, "I'll take it if you give me £500." And
I see that. Yeah, but that's the case, though, isn't it? I mean, I live Norwich. So it is a bit of a slap for me, but I would have gone. We went a few times last season. I went to Bournemouth this season. Now I'm struggling to watch it on the telly. So if you think I'm getting out of my warm, comfy sofa and my heating on to go watch that, look, I take my hat off. It's what me and Lubo said. Look, I disagree with a lot of Lubo says. I take my hat off to the man. That guy is home, away every single week. I would like to say I'm a bit more intelligent. I've seen enough. I'm not wasting any more time or money. Lubo is literally Tottenham, and Johnny. They are literally bleed
Nice
Tottenham
one.
regardless.
Yeah.
And that is so rare because I feel the way we are going, they need even more credit for what they're doing. You know, even more. And that is why I don't like the fact that they are all complaining, all moaning at fans and bits and pieces. Because look, these fans are in this situation are hardcore.
So whilst we've got Savva's chair, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to mention Frank for the first time, right? Because I haven't spoken about Frank once. I've got a lot of beef with Frank, and I actually think, and this is people are gonna hate me for this. I think Frank might just be the perfect person for our club, right here, right now, because we absolutely need to sort out the way that we get players. He called it out straight away in the summer. He went, the way that this transfer team is engaging with me, and the way that this is not what I expect. This is not what I expect as a properly functioning football club, which is what he built at Brentford. He built a really functional, working football club. He got up from the Championship and then became a stable Premier League team. And he's come in and he's gone, it's rubbish here, in a really, really polite and nice way. And I think he's the perfect guy to actually sort that out. I don't like the way that he does subs. And that is absolute. Players passing the ball to each other and not being able to pass the ball to each other. 80% players, 20% coaching. A manager or a head coach not doing in-game management in the second half, like Emery did yesterday, right? Emery managed that second half by bringing Watkins and by doing other subs.
Agree.
And Frank doesn't. And whether that's because he doesn't trust, I don't actually care whether he trusts the players or not. Sometimes you just need to work with what you've got. I
agree.
And I don't see Frank. I don't see Frank doing that. So I've got a lot of beef with Frank, and I would love to see Poch in the summer. I would absolutely love to see Poch come in the summer. But I'd also,
you know what,
like
with that,
saying,
mate. You know what? I really don't care.
I'd love to
I don't
see
care.
Frank just sort out the transfer, the way that we do transfers.
You know what? You could offer me Klopp right now. I really couldn't give a crap. I'm so discontent with this club. I really couldn't care. I know he'll come in and that's sort of tongue in cheek because he'll come in and go, yes, like we're gonna do. But are we? Like I've seen, I was speaking to a guy I work with on Friday and Saturdays. He comes and gives me a hand. He's an Arsenal fan, and I said to him, "What do you think the problem is with Spurs?" And he said, "Well, you have to start looking above because you've had, you've Frank is an okay manager. Then you've got Andrew. He said I thought he was an okay manager. I said, yeah, but if I could pick two managers now to coach my team, I'd pick Conte and Mourinho. We've had those, and they failed as well. So it can't continuously be a manager when you've had Poch, greatest manager, along with Harry Redknapp for me that I can remember that I've been like, yeah, I really enjoy this. You had the best winners, barring Pep, more of my generation, Alex Ferguson, them guys, like they are there. We've had those, and it all doesn't work. And there's a reason for that. That reason is Tottenham Hotspur, ENIC, Daniel Levy, whatever you want. You can't just keep doing what you're doing and get nothing. It doesn't work like that. Something is wrong, fundamentally wrong. If you kept building houses and the roof kept falling off, it can't be that like the materials. It's got to be something you're doing for the roof to keep falling off. There's something along those lines of what's happening here.
But this is why I say, James, right? Like, and it's so funny. I can always tell who actually listens versus who just wants to speak, right? I have said a million times, I don't care who the manager is. but nothing is fundamentally going to change. Like, I mean, sizably change for me to be bothered unless there is a plan implemented. So this new notion now, everyone now has got their nostalgic glasses on and going, oh, it's Poch. Fine. So we're going to bring Poch back in to what? Paratici and Lang. And what do we expect is going to happen? Like, realistically, what do we expect is going to happen? Because if you actually look at the recruitment when Poch was here, it was poor. There were 4 very good signings that Poch was given. I'm not blaming him for this, by the way, but there was 4 very good signings that he was given, right, Rain, which was, James, if you've got to go, thank you very much. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, little man's got football, mate, so
Hope it goes well.
Appreciate you coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time.
take
Thank you.
care, boys. They've got to be
later.
hitting this like, though, mate. The super chats have been amazing, but the like count is dreadful.
Oh, yeah, the likes are terrible. Yeah, the super chats.
Take care, boys. Take care.
Yeah, take care, James. But the thing for me, right, Rain, is I look at the signings that we were given under Poch, right? So Pochettino signed Son, Dele Alli, Wanyama, and Toby Alderweireld, right? The other 7 of that good team were all there. If I'm not wrong, let's have a look. The other 7, Lloris was already there, Walker was, Rose was, Vertonghen was, Dembele was, Ericsson was, Kane was, right? So what we saw in 5-6 years of Poch, that the recruitment was actually really bad. So what we're doing is we're saying, right, bring Poch back in because he's going to unite the fans. I just think nothing's going to unite the fans if the owners don't start acting properly and have an actual recruitment plan. Do you see what I mean?
I think people are forgetting why Poch got sacked. Poch got sacked because he, just like Maresca and Amorim, right? Poch didn't get sacked for poor performances. Yes, we dipped a bit, but you know we were in the Champions League final 4 months before he got sacked. He didn't get sacked because of performances. He got sacked, same as Amorim and Maresca, because he went public with criticism over the transfer policy. Everybody remembers, right? If I just use the analogy that Poch used, everybody remembers him talking about a wonderful house with no furniture. Yeah, everybody remembers it, right? Everybody in chat who's going to tell me I'm wrong, you remember that. That was because he was saying, you're not giving me the players that I need to keep this team going. So what they did was they went and got him Ndombele, great. Lo Celso, great. Those Ndombele was a bit of a, and Lo Celso wasn't too hot. And you know what? It didn't work out because Poch had 3 or 4 years where he'd had no decent players coming in. We had 2 years where we had no transfers at all, right? So that is what happened. That is what really happened under Poch. That's why I was saying whilst you were sorting your light out, mate, that actually what needs to happen right now, in my opinion, is the whole transfer mess, the way that we do transfers needs to be fixed. I'd love Poch to come back. I'd love the guy who loves our club, but without that groundwork being done first,
exactly,
Poch is just being thrown to the wolves.
Well, let's have a look. If you actually look, right, and again, this should be the worrying thing for people. When Poch had that really good 11 that obviously he coached, and some of them were there, some of them weren't. When he had that really good 11 available for 3-4 years, Spurs were an excellent football team. But when that team started to fall apart, some were sold, some were getting old, right? When that team started to fall apart, Poch's last year in charge of Spurs, if you actually look, there was no away win for like 10 months, right? The league form fell off a cliff and we were 14th. Now, I'm not knocking Poch. What I'm saying is he'd be coming back into a squad, by the way, that's worse than what he left. So when he was struggling, Poch, was when everything started to fall apart because our recruitment was crap. That is what we're asking Poch to come back into, right? So I think we've got to, I get the nostalgia. I get that everyone loves Poch, and I've got nothing against Poch. But if that doesn't change, then nothing has changed, if that makes sense. Like, he'll be coming back to worse than what he left. He's coming back into worse midfielders. He hasn't. He's not coming back into Son and Kane. He's not coming back into Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen or Lloris. So I'll say this again. Bring Poch in. I'm here for it. But we're going to be sitting there going, fine. He's now working under Paratici and Lang, who have built this squad. They've built this squad, those two between them. So do we trust that if nothing changes from a board perspective or a director of football perspective, that anything is truly going to change under Poch other than some feel-good factor?
I go back and have a look at that team as well, right? And I look at it, and I think Ericsson needed to go. He was on a bit of a wane. How did we replace him? We didn't replace him. I'm not sure we've still replaced him. I'm not sure.
I think Maddison did when he came in, but how many years between Ericsson and Maddison? 4?
Yeah.
3?
Dembele.
4?
Dembele? Have we replaced Dembele? No. Harry Kane has left. Have we replaced Harry Kane?
No.
No. Walker. Let's just talk about Walker very quickly. Right? Class. Walker we bought as a young kid. Did we play him straight away? Was Walker, or did we give him the support to learn his trade? Yeah. Who played at right back for Harry Redknapp, who was before, who was like basically before Poch? Was Walker starting? No, I think it was Benoit Assou-Ekotto, right? Who played? Was he the
Benoit was the left back under Harry.
Who was playing right back? I can't remember, but it wasn't Kyle Walker
under Harry.
Yeah.
Under Harry Redknapp, it would have been Vedran Chorluka in the end.
Chorluka. So we gave Kyle Walker like a good 6-7 years of learning his trade from being a young lad. Yeah. And then do you know what? He came in to that side and he was fantastic for us. We didn't bring him in at 18, 19. We let him develop. And we supported that development. But what we're doing now, we're buying 19, 20-year-olds and expecting them to perform straight off the bat. So if you look at that team, the team was acquired really, really, really well. The young players in it, even Harry Kane, terrible loans apart, what that actually did was build mental resilience within that guy, which made him, and Tim Sherwood saw it, I am going to be an incredible footballer by hook or by crook, right? So we'd acquired well and we developed well up to that point. And since then, I don't think we've done either.
Look, I make you right. Look, I make you right in all of this. And again, I see the people that understand the conversation. It's not that I'm going, I don't want Poch or I do want Poch. I'm in the position. It's the same thing with the Thomas Frank debate. I just don't care at the moment who it is if they don't have a plan, right? So, and this is the thing. When I say to people, right, like, okay, cool. Who do you want as next manager? Oh, I want Xavi Hernandez. Cool. All right, cool. What? You want Xavi Hernandez with Lang's signings? Like, it doesn't make sense. Now, again, Rain, that doesn't mean I don't want Xavi Hernandez. Doesn't mean I wouldn't want him instead of Thomas Frank. But we are going to be in this same position. Now, what I think will happen if we do not implement that, if we do not bring in a Ralph Rangnick, a Campos, oh God, what's his name? Who was with us? Mitchell, right?
Ashworth.
Edwards, exactly. Yeah. If we do not bring in one of those, what I think will happen is whoever the next manager is, I think comes in and gets a bit of goodwill from the fans because it's not Frank, right? And We might go up a few places in the Premier League table. But realistically, what fundamentally changes? Like, nothing fundamentally changes, because it will still be the same players. It will still be that our ethos and philosophy is just to buy young kids and panic buy and loan and panic loans. So that is where I think you really do get to see. Like, I see other YouTubers talk about me. So Savva said this. Like, no, you're not listening to the full story of what I'm saying. It's not that, oh my God, I want Frank forever and he's amazing. But I just don't think anything's going to change unless they change up there. Fundamentally, that's where I'm at with it.
I mean, I agree with you, and I think what we need to accept, or what I'd like other people to accept, because let's be clear, right? Let's be clear. The way that this club gets better is not just the board. It's the fact.
Sorry, just quickly, Rain. Sorry, Rain, just really, really quickly. You know what we were talking about earlier? This just sums it up. You see what I mean?
You know what? I was going to mention De Zerbi. He's the flavour of the month.
But this whole sentence makes me laugh. You know what we were talking about earlier about actually building a team and an identity? This is the problem. Fans just go, you can't tell me they have better players than us, right? And it's like, again, someone like the Big D hasn't got the brain, sorry, I'm going to say it, hasn't got the capacity to turn around and go, yes, but those teams have been built with a particular purpose in mind. They are structured teams. We have been built for 6 different managers with lots of different mediocre players. It's not always about the individual player. By the way, let's look at the teams he's named. Brighton, Fulham. I'll tell you 7 or 8 players out of the Brighton Fulham team I would have above most of our 11 right now.
Yep.
I'm sorry, right now from Fulham, right? I'm taking
and Forest. You look at when we played Big D, mate. Look, when we played Forest, are you seriously telling me that their central midfield against our central midfield, that you wouldn't have just gone, yeah, I'll have them. I'll have them. In fact, do you know what? I'll have Douglas Luiz, who was on the bench. He was on their bench. I'll have him in our starting 11, mate.
But you know what it is, Wayne? It's the name Tottenham Hotspur that people are confusing with the caliber of the players, right? So if I look at Fulham, again, I'm using a very well-run football club, but a small football club, right? Fulham. So Fulham right now are 4 points above us, right? And they don't play in Europe. Fulham right now, I'm taking Anthony Robinson all day long over our goalkeeper, over our left back, right? I'm taking Kenny Tete over Porro as a defender, right? I am taking Sanderberg. I am taking Harry Wilson. I am taking Matt Sells, right? I am taking loads of these players. But again, it's not about him versus him. That team has been built over a number of years with the same manager, with an ethos and a structure, right? These fans don't seem to get it. Now, if Fulham were playing in Europe, that wouldn't be the case, because they'd have to start rotating all of these players every 3 or 4 days, right? Leno, not Sells.
I'll take him as well.
I'll take both of them. But this is my point. When I see we've got better players than Brighton, do we? There's quite a lot of Brighton's team that I would take. I don't know who these fans are seeing that are that good in our team.
So I'm going to disagree with just one thing. You said they've had the same manager, and I just don't think that's important. And actually, you look at a well-functioning.
Because you build, don't you? You build.
You look at a well-functioning club like Brighton, and they don't buy for a manager. They buy for the team, for the squad, and then they bring
their managers always have tenure. But Rain, the point is they don't have a manager for 6 months and move them on. They have built a purpose, right? Potter had ages, De Zerbi had ages, Herzl has been there a while, and the next guy that comes in will be of the same ilk, won't he?
So the next thing that where I was going, and actually it dovetails perfectly with what you're saying, mate, is that yesterday I'm absolutely clear that the second half, a lot of the reason why we picked up in the second half was because the fans started singing and chanting. People underestimate just how much the fans in the stadium have an impact on the pitch, but also just how supportive the team the fans have actually been. Everybody talks about the booing, but there's many other times, like during the Liverpool game, we were absolutely singing, we were chanting for the team, we were trying to uplift them. We only get where we need to go as a club if we all go together. Now they need to sort their crap out, yeah. In the club, they need to do what they need to do. But we as fans also need to understand that whilst other clubs like Brentford have built what they've got over a long period of time
Exactly.
to fix where we are right here, right now, when you consider we've been trying to sell Richie for what, a year and a half? We can't, nobody's buying him. And do you know what? The guy's got a contract. He's going to be with us for the length of that contract. To fix our problems is going to take time.
But fans like the Big D don't get it, Rain. This is the problem. So in the chat, he's just said to me, give me one reason you wouldn't sack Frank today. And can I tell you why that frustrates me? Because how many times have I reiterated, Rain, I don't care if Thomas Frank is sacked today. But the one big reason why I wouldn't sack any manager right now is because the club is a mess. The new manager is coming in to this mess. And these fans don't have. I'd love someone like the Big D to come on and have an actual football conversation. I have not once stated that I think Thomas Frank is amazing. I have not once stated that I care if he is sacked. But we are going to do the same thing again and again and again, right? What also, who's coming in, right? By the way, when people are talking about De Zerbi would last 10 minutes at this football club because he is volatile. And again, it's not that I don't like De Zerbi as a manager, but De Zerbi is volatile. He will call out that board within a year, right? The fans will love it, and then he'll be sacked. De Zerbi also would need better footballers to play his style of football. So again, when people like the Big D sit in the chat, they're not listening to a word that's being said because all they see is a manager. All they see is Frank. Frank might be a problem, Rain, but he is not the problem. He might be part of the problem, but our fans, not all of them, right? Our fans can't tell what's happening at this club over the last decade, how we're just going like this. If we sack Frank, the next manager's going to come in and all of a sudden the Tells and the Odebers and the Archie Grays, the Dansos, the Vicarios, the Ben Davises, the Richies, the Mawanis, all of a sudden, the Bentancurs, all of a sudden, they're really good and we look like a really good team. I think they're deluded if they think that, Rain. I think they're absolutely deluded if they think that.
Oh, I think that's I mean I agree with you, but the problem is we go back to what we're talking about with James, we have an understanding that the players are here, and certain people, certain fans think, oh, we should be able to uplift them up to here, and then they see them do that type of a performance for 45 minutes, and they go, why can they not perform up there all the time? And I go back to my car analogy, right? If you've got an old banger, you can rev it at 7,000 RPM and it will go, it will do 0 to 60 or whatever it does. And you can get it to do it, but it'll break, right? But if you get a medium-sized or a medium performance car, you could rev it at, 7,000, 8,000, but you don't do that. Nobody revs at 7,000 RPM. Everywhere you go, that's not the way that life works. They're human beings. They need at some point to be at 3,500 revs. And you know what? Sometimes they'll be at 7, sometimes they'll be at 1 for energy conservation. That's the way that it works. So what you want are players who are higher averages. That's what Man City do. They just go and buy high average players, right? And actually what they try to do is buy high average players who have very little variability. We're buying medium average players, and we're trying to say, right, let's get the high variability every single game. Life doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Look, I just find it funny And again, I will absolutely. This is why I'd love to speak to this person again. Rain, I proved it earlier when people like this are saying our players are bad, but not as bad as you make out, right? Again, Rain, a Big D, here you go. You are wrong. Sorry, let me move your comment. You are wrong. Again, everyone keeps saying to me, these players are better than what we're seeing. Then why is that their form over 82 games? Why is that their form over 82 games? Again, someone like Big D can't answer that. Please tell me, if these players are better than what we're seeing, why is that our mean? As
Can I just say,
hang on. Just my last point on this, right? Also, can someone like the Big D please tell me, when you saw these players be better than what we're seeing? When have you seen Tell, Odegaard, Gray, Davis, Vicar? When? All I've seen for the last 3, 4, 5 years is a steady decline. So what is it that you've seen? What is it that you've seen? By the way, no. Only 21 of those games are under Frank, by the way. Sorry, only 18, because this was 3 games ago. Only 18. Again, mate, are you thick as shit? Did you listen to it? Mate, come on. If I send you the link, will you come on? Because you've not listened to a word I've said. And that's
actually, this is what I was going to say, Sav. This is what I was going to say, because you were focusing on the first part of the comment, and I'm reading the second part of the comment. You can't give me one simple reason why we should stick with Frank. And it's just like, mate, have you not been watching the bloody show? Nobody is saying we need to stick with Frank. Nobody is saying that. No one. I agree with Sav. Sack him tomorrow. Doesn't matter. So get a new boss. It'll be the same as the old boss.
Exactly.
You know what?
That's all I'm saying.
Because it'll be exactly the same. He's still working with the same tools. Okay.
Right.
So
Big D. I'm going to put the link in. Right. Big D. This is for him and no one else. And you must have your camera on. Right. This is what makes me laugh. I can always, as I've said, Rain, I can always tell he can't listen. He doesn't listen. He said, stop waffling. I give him data. He says it's waffling. Let's see, right? I want to see this bloke defend that last 84 games for Tottenham Hotspur. There you go, Big D. Let's see. Because, Big D, I need an answer. If we're better than we're seeing, why have we... This, by the way, this was before... Sorry, this graph was put out just before the... Who were the last 2 games we played? Not Villa, league games.
Liverpool. Was it Liverpool?
It was after Liverpool and... Right. So again, this is the thing. And as I've said, people like him won't listen. It's not about, oh my God, we must keep Frank. It's what are we doing if we change him? Right. And I need these people. I had this on when I was on the Spurs 5 the other day. I was speaking to the boys. These players aren't as bad as we say. Okay. Why does the data show that they are? And I don't want to just use data, Rain. But my eyes tell me for the last few years how shit we've been. The data tells me how shit we've been. But then we've got people going, these players are much better. Sorry. When have you seen Archie Gray in midfield be much better? When have you seen Tell and Odegaard and Richie? And it's honestly baffling. It's truly baffling. Let's see if this guy turns up.
There's certain things that a coach can and can't do, right? And I'm big into. I had somebody on a stream yesterday, and he said to me, "Why are you not going after Frank?" And because there's so many people, and you've got such a different take. And my take is it's all about personal responsibility. I once the players go out on the pitch, and I don't think he's not putting the best players that we've got out on the pitch. I mean, right? It's not like he's going, I want you to play 2-5-3. He's not playing a weird formation or putting weird players out on the pitch. I don't think anybody can dispute that. But then when you see the players out on the pitch, they're not passing to each other. They're not following their men. None of these things are to do with Frank. In the short term, None of these things are to do with Frank. All these things are to do with the players and their individual personal qualities. Wait 1 second, Big D. I'm going to log off, mate. Thank you very much for having me on, and I'll speak to you soon. Good luck.
No, listen, thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you. I'll WhatsApp you later.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, look, guys, as I've always said, guys, I'm all for, I'll say it again before Big D comes in, I'm all for changing the manager if there is a plan that goes with it. That's all I've said. That's all I've said over and over and over and over again. But we are seeing a pattern here. Every transfer window is getting worse and worse and worse. The top players are leaving and we're not replacing them. And then people turn around and think that these players are capable of better when we've never seen it. We've never seen it. So I don't know if this guy's going to, I don't know what's going on here, but we'll see. Is it loser talk or is he telling the truth? I know we don't like the truth, but this club needs someone at the top that comes in and tells the truth. Somebody at the top needs to come in and tell the truth. God, mate, you're on mute at the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to get his earphones working there, Savva. That's all.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so you clearly haven't listened to a word I've said, right? Like you said, I was waffling, but you've not listened to a word I said.
I listened to you for the last few years, Savva, and the one thing I just don't understand is how you can actually still justify Thomas Frank being in a job and not sacking him tomorrow. The last good game was against Man City, which was back in September. We've seen the worst football we've ever witnessed. Well, I'm 38 in my lifetime. And to still sit here and not say sack him, it's like you're trying to die on this hill of still saying, well, it's just the players.
So you've not listened. So you've not listened.
No, I have listened. I listen to you all the time, Savva. I'm in nearly every show. I listen during my work.
So you've not
40 hours a week I'm in work, and I listen to you most times when you're on. But I know the players are bad, but they're not as bad as you're making out. I know they are bad, but not as bad as you are making out. You can't say they're worse than Forest, Fulham, Brighton.
Prove that. I can say
Sunderland. Right. So you're telling me Sunderland have better players than us?
I don't know. Watch, right? There. The last 80 games, worse than Forest, worse than Brentford, worse than Fulham, worse than Everton, worse than Brighton.
The Thomas Frank effect is amazing, isn't it?
No. Listen, Big D, take a breath. I'm showing you.
I'm not screaming, I'm not shouting.
Let me talk. Right? You've got to let me talk.
Yeah.
You said we're better than those clubs. I am showing you for the last 80, this is 82 games. There's 2 more games since that. The data is showing that what you're saying isn't factually correct.
Okay, so that goes.
Hang on.
Go ahead, yeah.
So I'm asking you now. I've given you evidence. Now you give me evidence that tells me we are better than those clubs.
I'll tell you what. So we're in that position, but you'll blame the players for being in that position, but not the manager. Why?
Hang on.
No, it's a simple question. It's not that. It's not that hard. I'm
trying to answer it. You keep cutting me off. You keep cutting me off, mate. I'm trying to answer it because Thomas Frank is that much of that data. All the data before Thomas Frank shows we've been dreadful as well. So I am saying, are we not realizing now that no matter who the manager is, for 3 years, we've been, well, it's more than 3 years, but 3 years, we've been going like that. And fans like you are belittling the Fulhams and the Palaces and all these clubs who over the last 2-3 years have actually accumulated more points than Tottenham. Why, if they're so bad and our players are better? Why?
Yeah, I get you. I totally get what you're saying. But you can't give me one reason why we should.
So you can't answer my question. Hang on. No, see, you're doing what lots of people do when they come on.
No, it's a simple question.
You've not answered my question. You've not answered my question.
But I agree with you. I think we need to improve the players. We need to put a better system in place. We need to actually have like some sort of plan in place
Sure, but you're not answering
and
the question.
for signing players for what type of system. But the thing is, we've seen it since September with Thomas Frank. He's getting worse. Have you enjoyed one game since Thomas Frank?
Have we seen him with his first 11 once ever?
Right, but can you tell me one good thing about Thomas Frank that we've seen? No, you can't tell me that you can't get anything better out of the likes of Van der Ven, Romero, Udogie.
Okay, so
Toro.
the same players you've just said are responsible for this. Why
so was
can't
Thomas
you
Frank.
answer that? Why?
And so was Thomas Frank.
I agree. Why can't you answer my question though? Notice
What's
you
the
keep
question?
going. Oh my God, this is painful, mate. I've asked you so many times. If this is our data for the last 2.5, 3 years, what says these players are capable of better? When? Where? Show me evidence.
Yeah.
You can't. Can you?
Yeah.
You can't.
But I agree. I actually am agreeing with you. We need to get better players in, but we also need to get a better manager in. And it feels like you will just die on that hill for Thomas Frank. I don't know what it is, but you still will. When was the? Give me. Well, I've answered your question. You give me one good reason why we should stick by Thomas Frank.
I'm going to say it really slowly because you don't.
Look, I've asked you 4 or 5 times. You won't answer. Give me one good reason why we should stick with Thomas Frank.
I am trying to.
Right, go. I'll let you talk. Go.
Because if you sack him right now, there is no plan to suggest anything's going to be different. There is no plan from owners to directors to director of football to scouting to transfers. I have said a million times, you don't use these. Sack him right now. Listen to what I'm saying. Sack him right now. I don't care. But we are going to have the same problem with the next guy, right? Thomas Frank has come in, been given 6 months, hasn't got his own players, hasn't got half his squad fit, and we're going to get rid of him. Fine. The next guy is going to pick up this exact same shit show. So I've said, and again, I can't believe I have to say this a million times. Sack him all you want, but what's the plan? So it's not.
I'm totally agree with you,
Frank.
David.
What's the plan?
I totally agree with you. It's rotten from the core right to the top. I totally agree with you. But the thing is, you can't stick by this manager. I haven't seen one thing from him, even with these bad players that you call really bad. He should be doing a lot better. He should be doing better. Have you enjoyed? Simple question. Have you enjoyed one game?
I've asked you why. Again, you keep coming back to that sentence. Should be doing much better with these players. Based on what? When have you ever seen these players much better? When?
Well, all right, right, yeah, that point's valid, right? But the thing is, Savva,
it's just a fact.
The thing is, have you enjoyed 1 minute of Thomas Frank's football?
I didn't say I have, but Big D, you said you watch me all the time. What did I say in the summer? What did I say in the summer?
You won't. Basically, you said in the summer that
what did I say in the summer?
Yeah, you said if things don't change from the top with the players, if we don't get the right players in, it's not going to work. That's what you've basically been banging on about since the summer.
What I said was, I don't expect to see anything in this year because we have not got the squad capable of playing 2 games a week, and we have not got a good first 11. I said we have not got ball-playing midfielders. We have not got a left winger. We've not got a good striker. We don't have a left back at the club. I think the goalkeeper's crap, right? And I think our central midfielders are poor. I said I don't expect a lot. So when you come onto my channel going, oh, have you enjoyed it? No, I didn't expect to enjoy it because we've not got the footballers. We have lost all our quality over the years and we've not replaced it. So fine. Again, I'll say it again because you're not listening. If Thomas Frank is sacked today, I lose zero sleep over it.
Making a lot of noise there. Sorry.
I can't hear it. Right? I lose no sleep over Thomas Frank leaving this club But the problem is the next manager's going to come in and we're going to see more of this because the players won't suddenly be better. Because suddenly, unless the new manager comes in, as I've said, bring in a new manager, but with that, my actual term was you can't just change the manager. If you change the manager, you've got to change the director of football, the scouts, the leadership has to change. So, no, Big D, stop telling people I'm dying on a hill for him. No, I'm not enjoying the football. But I don't look at any of these players and think any of them are that good. Van der Ven's a very good defender, right? Paulinho's a good destroyer, DM in midfield. Other than that, where's the quality? Where's the quality?
And that, I totally agree with you, Savva.
Why are we
things have to change.
Why are we better
but the
than
one
Palace?
thing,
Why?
The one thing that I do know is the players aren't good enough. We have to invest and we have to know exactly what we're going to do and have a system in place. And I thought we got that with Thomas Frank. But since September, it's been absolutely horrible to watch.
I agree.
It's been the worst I've ever seen. And I haven't seen any improvement. And that's all. And the only reason why I'm calling you out is because I constantly hear you say about the players, but I never hear you say about Thomas Frank. You it's like 90% players, 10% Thomas Frank.
I'm trying, but if you don't have the players, I don't see how it gets better. I don't get this. We have weakened year on year on year. We don't have Son and Kane to bail us out anymore. We don't have a ball-playing midfielder. We have Archie Grays and Bergvals and Bentancurs and Tells and Odebergs and Ben Davis. And these are not.
I know it's shocking. It's shocking. It is shocking. The squad is absolutely shocking.
See more. So what more can you see from these players? You acknowledge their shit, but want to see more. How can those two?
Well, I want to see improvement on the players and the club. But the one thing I do know is that the manager is also a huge problem. Like we're playing like we're Brentford, and we actually are worse than Brentford because the way the manager has a set.
Why are we worse than Brentford? Why are we worse than Brentford?
I know because the squad and because of the manager. But I just would like to hear you say manager once or twice.
Now expand your mind just a tiny bit. Why are we worse than Brentford?
Yeah, it's all. It's not just one simple thing, Sav. I never said it was. I'm just saying one thing I do know is that this manager is not the right fit for Spurs. He's absolutely atrocious. The football's horrible. It's boring to watch. I went over on 20th of December from Ireland to watch the Liverpool game, and it was the worst thing I ever did. It was horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. When was the last time you enjoyed a game under Thomas Frank? I know the players are a big problem as well, but even under Ange was horrible. Well, at least it was. Yeah, but at least it was somewhat like entertaining to watch under Ange, even though we lost a lot of games. But at the start,
getting ripped open at the back every week was entertaining.
We're still getting ripped open. We're still getting ripped open. We're conceding the same amount of goals.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Again, the data makes you wrong, right? The data makes you wrong. I will ask you this. Let's see if I can get a simple answer, and I bet you go round the houses.
Right,
you acknowledge the players are shit and that we've recruited badly, but you want to see better football. Who in this team is capable of better football? In the 11 you saw yesterday, for example, who is it that you're looking at and going, yeah, they're really good, and Thomas Frank should be getting loads out of them? Who?
There's not a lot of quality there, but I tell you the players that I will keep. I keep Van der Ven, I keep Romero, a defender,
yes.
But you're not asking me to name players. I'm starting from the back and I'm moving up through the middle.
Go on. I can't wait for this in the middle. Go on.
Yeah, well, the middle is shocking. And Paulini is a good destroyer, but he's not amazing on the ball. And then you've got is you.
You're answering it for me. You're literally.
Yeah, I know. I am not disagreeing with you that the squad is not good enough, Savva. The point I'm trying to make is that it's constantly about the squad with you, and it's never about the manager. And it's like you're gonna die in this Thomas Frank hill.
If you keep lying, I'll just say it.
He's not
dying on a hill. Listen to what I'm saying.
I have listened to you, Savva.
If you do not have. This is what I don't get with fans.
Look, we're going around in circles here.
Hang on. Well, please stop cutting me off, right? If we have fans like you that make no sense.
Okay.
You say you say there's no quality there, the players are bad, and then you're saying, but we want to see better football. At the same time, you're saying there's no quality. And when I ask you to name me players that could play quality football, you've named 2 centre-backs and a holding midfielder. Do you not see the irony here?
I do. I'm agreeing with you that we need to improve on the players of it. But I ask you a simple question. One thing, like, you can't tell me that you can't get any better out of them players than Thomas Frank is getting right now.
Okay, so then I ask you, tell me when. Show me evidence that they're better than we're seeing. Give me the evidence.
Well, have you, like, you played...
That's what I mean. You haven't got nothing. You got nothing. You've got nothing. I've got data. Look, I've got the data that shows me they're not very good. You've got
So nothing. Then before I go, quick question. Do you think we should stick with Thomas Frank?
Oh my God. If I have to answer
this, it's a simple question. You won't answer. I've asked it like 5 or 6 times.
Oh my God.
You stick with Thomas Frank and just blame the players then?
Oh my God. You're not listening. I don't think Thomas Frank is blameless. But I'm also the person in the summer that said, we have not built. We have not added quality. We have lost quality. We have not added quality. I don't expect a lot from this team. What I want to see with any manager, whether it's Frank or the next guy, is that they get 3 or 4 windows, that we get to spend money, bring in their own players, develop over time. That's what I want to see. If we're not going to allow Frank to do that, then sack him now. But you know what? I can't wait to see what you say when the next manager comes in and nothing changes with these players.
I want change, I want change as well. Like we're both Spurs fans at the end of the day. I totally agree with you about the players and from the top down.
You think they're better. You don't agree with me.
But the one thing I do know is even from watching Thomas Frank with these bad players, like it's absolutely shocking. Like it's the worst football I've ever watched in my whole life. Can't give me one reason why we should stand by him. I can't watch it every week.
So why then? Why, when I ask you to name me quality players in this squad that can play better, you can't name anybody and then say it's the worst football we've seen? I've seen much worse football, by the way, in my decades of supporting Spurs, right? I'm not saying Thomas Frank is the guy, right? But what I'm saying is, if we do not change at the top and have a plan, what does it matter if you change this manager?
Well, we should change at the top and have a plan, and we should change change Thomas Frank as well, because it's absolutely atrocious.
So then listen to what I actually said then, and then you can turn around and say, yes, that's what you said the first time. What did I actually say?
When?
Sack Frank, fine, don't care. But you can't just sack Frank, is what I said.
No, I agree.
People like you and others in the chat can't seem to wrap your heads around that. I am looking forward to seeing this next manager who comes in. He better have us top 4 playing champagne football. Because for all the fans that don't want to actually look at the data that proves how bad we've been now under a number of managers, right? And somebody in there said, why 82 games? I'll tell you why the data was 82 games, right? Somebody said this, right? Somebody said, why 82 games? First of all, you don't think I put this together, do you? Not you, I'm not asking you, but you think I didn't put this together. Somebody was sent to me. The reason somebody put that 82 together, it was 2 whole years. That's why, right? Now, if you go back further, you can add in another year, right? And that year would have Angie's good start, but also the horrific ends to the season before. So again, it would just be more data that is showing we are bad, right?
It's been bad since 2019, Savva, and I totally get that.
Of course it has, but it's getting
been
worse.
Absolutely horrific. The only point I was trying to make, Savva, I watch you every day. Every day you're on, I watch you. Well, I listen to your work, right? And I agree with you on most things. And I think you're one of the better YouTubers out there, because you're honest. But the only point I was trying to make is that for the last few weeks, it felt like you're just kind of you're backing Thomas Frank when I see nothing there too bad.
So you're not listening then. You're not listening to the bigger picture of what I say. This is what I find so funny in the world today. Listen to the bigger picture. Sack Frank all you want. Nothing's going to change. We're watching a manager right now that's never had his best team once. How many managers go into a club and we're going to sack them before we've actually seen him have his first 11 out once? Not once has he had a first 11 out. We've got 10 first-team injuries, right? It's not his squad. We've got 10 first-team injuries. We've got the same players that have let us down under the previous 2-3 managers, the bulk of them. He's lost Son from last season. We didn't even bloody replace him, right? We've lost all of the goals and assists from last season. I'm all for a new manager coming in.
But
right?
even at the start of the season, Savva, when we had the likes of Porro, Van der Ven, Romero, Udogie, then we had Paulini in the middle with Xavi and say Bentancur, and then you had Kudus and I can't remember who we had up top, and then we had nobody on the left. It still was absolutely poor. It's like we're playing.
But you've just mentioned a lot of average football. Like again, you've not mentioned quality there. I don't think Destiny Udogie's good. I don't know what's Destiny Udogie done since he's been at Tottenham for people to put him in this quality player bracket.
He's been injured most of the time there. But look, the point I'm trying to make, Savva, is that
he's an average player.
Yeah,
Richarlison is an average footballer. Tell, Odeberg, Gray, Bergvall, Sarr. Where's the quality?
Yeah.
Where's the quality?
We does lack quality, Savva. Look, I'm after coming on. I tried to make the point. The only point I was trying to make is that it felt like you were kind of just constantly berating the players, but not the manager. And I think the manager deserves as much stick as the players. That's all. I'm just telling you how I feel. That's it.
Because I haven't seen the manager with the best team once or his own footballers. When I see that over a sample size, I can say, yeah, you know what, mate, you've not worked. But right now.
So are you willing to give him to the summer then, is it?
Yes, because what's going to change now in January?
And what happens if you get relegated? Because this is relegation form.
We're not getting relegated,
This is relegation form.
We're not getting relegated, though. We're not going to get relegated.
You say that like we're right down there, Savva. Like it's a few more bad results. We're right in it.
Again, this is where people just say things without actually having the data. Let me show you. No, we're not. Let's have a look. Here we go. It's just so infuriating. People just say things. Look, we are not. We are 13 points above relegation. 13. We're not getting relegated. We are 6 points off Champions League and 13 off relegation. Come on, a bit of perspective here. A bit of perspective.
Yeah. Well, look, appreciate you having me on, Savva. Anyway, I meant to go for food there half an hour ago. So the wife and
Listen, thanks for coming on. Really,
appreciate you having me on. Thanks, Savva.
Thank you. You take care. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
It's guys. I think the problem for me is everyone just wants to hear me say Frank out. But again, as I said, I don't know what it will do. I don't know what it will do at this stage. Again, we want to look at. We don't want to look at the data to show that these players aren't good enough. Everyone keeps, as I said, when I asked that guy, nice lad, nothing against him, but when I ask the other YouTubers, what shows that we should be getting more out of these players, no one can actually answer it. No one can actually answer that question. Why? So I'm cool with Frank going. Frank needs to go for his own well-being at this stage. But I don't know what's going to change. Look, a new manager comes in and we're giving him 19-year-olds from Brazil. 19-year-olds from Brazil. All I want to see, all I've said I want to see is, can we at least see this manager have his best squad for a month or two? Can't we just see for a month or two for this guy to have his best squad? At least under Ange, we saw him with his best players and without the best players. And the sample size showed you that it was crap for 2 years or 18 months. I just don't know. I'm so bored of. Honestly, no one can think. Nobody. Can people not think bigger picture? Just once. Can we not think bigger picture? What needs to change at this football club? What's the main problem at this football club? Again, right. So again, a great point. Glasner, get him in. He's a winner. Now, what's happened with Palace? Palace are falling off a cliff. Why? Because he doesn't have the squad and he's playing every 3 days. Right? Doesn't have the squad and he's playing every 3 days. Suddenly now, Glasner is falling off a cliff. This is the problem. We keep going through these managers that are flavour of the month. Again, there's just a stupid comment here. Look at this, just a stupid comment. It's just absolutely ridiculous. How dumb can you be? Listen to what I'm saying. I would like to see the man given some transfer windows and some proper footballers so we can have a plan. If that's not going to be the case, sack him now. Let's see what happens. But again, you can't give me evidence to show that. If the main issue is the manager, again, I'll ask someone like Steve-O, who's clearly not very bright. If the main problem is the manager, then why is this existing for the last 2 calendar years? If the main problem is the manager, why is that the case? Thank you. The main problem is Enoch, but we won't say it. And you know what the funny thing? We're 3 points off 10. So if, like, when people are talking like we're 50, listen, if we don't beat West Ham and Burnley, he's going to go anyway. But the funny thing is, there are so many fans of clubs that don't support Spurs that look at our squad and go, this is a mess. They look at our squad and think it's a mess. But our fans, we should be getting more out of things. Who? Who did you see on that pitch last night that you think we should be getting more out of? Again, people like this, look. We had Archie Gray in central midfield. Ben Davies is at left back. And we're just going to do the same thing again. We're going to do the same thing again with the next manager. And I'll tell you what, Philly, when the next manager comes in, because he will, a new manager will come in, I'm not saying anything about whether I like the manager or not. I'm not doing it. I am not saying a thing. Because a wise man once said to me that his mum said to him, do you want to finish that sentence off? Those that don't...
Those who don't hear must fear, my friend. It's an old West Indian proverb. Big up E in the chat. You know how the line goes, my friend. You know how the line goes.
Those who don't hear must feel.
Amen. And I've said it over and over again over the years, and it's falling on deaf ears. I don't care who the Spurs manager is. I've said this 100 million times. I don't care who the manager is, because at some point, a manager's going to have to come into this club and look at the players and get rid of the players that they don't need and they're not going to be useful to them, and basically have a fresh start. That's what's going to have to happen. Someone's going to have to come and stabilize the club. And so far, these owners have no accountability, Savva. I've said it for years. They've had zero accountability. They bring in a manager in, they dump up a whole lot of players on them and say, look, get on with it. And some of these players don't even fit the positions that the manager actually needs them to do. And this is just bad now. And in the summer, I said this, it was a lazy summer. And when you think of the weeks we wasted going for Morgan Gibbs-White, we wasted weeks going for Eze, there was nothing in the background. We waited to the last week to bring in Simmons with no plan. We waited to bring in Mawani with no plan in mind. You just look at it and you think, you're in the Champions League. What was the point?
Philly, do you know, the thing is, I said this all summer, right? I know you did as well. You think we brought in 4 first-team players, because Tell was already done, right? We brought in 4 first-team players, 2 on loan, and 2 of those players came in the last 4 days of the window.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sum of what Tottenham managed to do in a 3-month transfer window
Agreed.
we managed to wait until the last 4 days to bring in one striker on loan as a panic to cover Solanke. And then Simmons, who I like, and I think he will come good, was 3rd or 4th choice on the list. But people were going, oh, good summer. What? And
I know.
I had to remind people, this is a season when we're about to be playing every 3 or 4 days in the Champions League and the Cups. Right? And everyone said, nah, we've got a good squad. And
I
again,
know. I heard it, Savva. I heard it.
we've not performed. And I'm not saying Frank doesn't take any blame. There are things I don't like that Frank does. But I see people say things like, oh, the subs he made last night. Who's he? We've got players like Dane Scarlett on the bench. What is it that these people are seeing? He should be getting more out of these players. When? When?
Savva, do you know the mad thing is here? They'll say, we don't rate the squad, yeah, but Thomas Frank should be getting more out of the squad. What are you asking him to do? Perform miracles? Are you asking Thomas Frank to perform miracles with the squad that he's got? He's got no ball-playing midfielder. Look at yesterday for Aston Villa. They were triangles and intricate passes. I was saying this to a cookmaster in the chat. There was intricate passes and triangles. You can see the Aston Villa players knew where the other player was on the pitch. They were. And then you look at Tottenham, yeah, when they got to Archie Gray, the long ball over the top where it could go to anybody, it was awful when you watched the Tottenham midfield. They were bypassing it. And I'm looking at that and thinking, you're asking Thomas Frank to upskill all these players. It's not going to happen. And plus, playing 2 games a week here on a Wednesday and then a Saturday, or a Wednesday and a Sunday, how much time does he have on the training pitch to actually implement any of his philosophy or any plans? Because he doesn't have any time on the training pitch to be doing that. So that's when the Champions League becomes advantageous to Tottenham Hotspurs, because really and truly, as a coach here, he needs that time on the training pitch to implement his philosophies. But he's not even having that.
But the thing, I completely agree with you, but the problem here is this. We've all seen the transfer window we've had, right, in the summer, where we didn't do what we needed to do. We're now a third of the way through this transfer window. And again, we've not done anything to try and change things. And we seem to think that a new manager is going to come in and suddenly Gray, Bentancur, Bergval, Sarr, Odebertel, Richarlison, Mawani, Davis, Porro, Vicario, suddenly they turn into really good players under a new manager. What happens when the new manager comes in? And by the way, for everyone saying, look where we are in the table, we're 6 points off Champions League, right? And I don't think we're going to get it. But my point is, Philly, this is the league table, right? Look how congested it is, right? We've got West Ham next. If we beat West Ham, you go back into the top half, depending on other results.
Yep.
Then you've got Burnley and you're up to 30. Like, everyone's making it out as though we are a million miles from European places. We're not. We're 3 points off. We're 6 points off of Champions League. But my point is, again, Ceesty, when people say this, then this isn't the same team. Maddison, Kulu, Son, Solanke. This manager's had none of that. This manager's had Solanke for what? 15 minutes against Man City, I think. And however long he played yesterday. He's had no Maddison. He's had no Kulu. They sold Son and didn't replace him. So when people are saying, this is the same thing. Dude, listen, stop with the caps. I didn't block you. I timed you out because it's the caps. Stop with the caps. You don't need to. Just write normally. Just write normally. So, Mike, again, this is what the last caller couldn't quite get it, Philly. Right? He's going, what have you seen to keep Frank? I want to see what Frank does when he's backed.
Exactly. That's all I'm asking for, Savva.
If he gets 2 years like Ange, if he gets 2 years, £400 million, 19 new players, and nothing changes, what will I be sitting here saying? Sorry, Thomas. Sorry, mate, you've got to go. But right now, we're sitting and watching him with a depleted squad. No players are being bought from in this transfer window, right? More teenagers are being signed. We're down to, yesterday, we had Gray in midfield and no central midfielder on the bench. This squad didn't have a centre mid on the bench. And people are going, oh, should be doing better. I just don't know. I just don't know where we go from here. I really don't.
No, but
I
Savva,
really don't.
when you look at our midfield yesterday, in comparison, look at our midfield. We had Archie Gray, and Paulinho in that midfield. Look at Aston Villa. When they had Camara, and they had McGinn, and they had Morgan Rogers in front of those, and Bundia, right? So already you're thinking Aston Villa's midfield, they should be overrunning Spurs. So that's why I made Aston Villa favourites for this game. I said their midfield is overrunning Spurs. Then when Camara got injured,
levels.
I know.
Levels
I said it. I've said it over the years, Savva. And when they took Camara off, you'd think if that was Tottenham, it's much of a muchness because the bench is not inspiring. But when you see Aston Villa, when they took Camara off, they brought on Tielemans.
I know.
That is levels above what Tottenham can offer on the bench. There is no comparison here. And then Aston Villa just took over, and it was one-touch passing, and the first goal was always coming on. Buendia put that away. You're just thinking the game is done. And then the second one from Morgan Rogers, and by the way, Morgan Rogers, what a fantastic signing. No one stopped Spurs from going to Exeter and buying him from Exeter. It's not. You can't tell me that Spurs didn't see Morgan Rogers there, or the scouting department didn't see him there. They must have done. So he's come in there, and he's carried, and Morgan Rogers is just shone in for that second goal and shone in the game. And that's the kind of player you're looking at and thinking, why haven't you gone for that kind of player? I can say that the likes of Bastoni, because you're at Inter Milan. Right, it's a fair with a dream if they come to Tottenham Hotspurs because there's no reason for them to come to Tottenham Hotspurs. But someone like Alex Scott or a Morgan Rogers, there's no excuse for them kind of signings, Savva. Not for me,
mate. And this is why when I look at, I mean, everyone gets annoyed. So I talk about Villa a lot, but I talk about Villa because I don't expect us to be where Arsenal, City, and Liverpool are. I'm not backing us against those big clubs. I'm looking and going, well, hang on. Newcastle and Villa, 5-6 years ago, were in the Championship, these clubs, right? These clubs have come to the Premier League. They've bought like Villa and Newcastle haven't bought anyone that's a superstar.
Yeah, agreed.
When you look, Newcastle buying, players like Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, right? They bought players like Bruno Guimaraes, Botman, Hall, Livramento, good solid players. None of them are, oh my God, can you believe Newcastle bought a world-class player? Villa have done the same. Sensible signings. Kamara, Onana, Tielemans, Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins, right? People at the back like Ezra Konza, good solid player for them. Matty Cash, Digne, Martinez, just sensible signings. So there's no excuse why Spurs couldn't have done that down the years. I've never ever asked for Haalands,
right?
De Bruyne's. I'm not asking for Spurs to sign somebody of a Harry Kane quality because I know we can't.
Exactly.
But all I ask is that we have sensible. And the question I'll ask is this: do we truly believe that if Thomas Frank had the squad that Aston Villa have got, with the goals of Ollie Watkins, the power of Morgan Rogers, the midfield of Kamara, McGinn, Onana, Tielemans, do we truly not believe we would be right up there? Maybe not where Villa are, but do we not believe? Do we not believe that if he had that squad at Spurs, we'd be like, we're 6 points off the Champions League with this disastrous squad. What would we do? Thomas Frank showed it at Brentford. Give him time. He will build a competent team. But we don't want to give him time.
That Brentford team mirrors Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank spent all his time and built that Brentford team, and stabilized them as a Premier League team. And really and truly, from where he brought them through the Championship to where he is here, really and truly, you would have thought Brentford would have gone down, but he's managed to stabilize that team and keep that team in the Premier League. And for me, that is hats off to Thomas Frank. Now that Keith Andrews has taken over, he's got a well-oiled machine that Thomas Frank has created. So Keith Andrews has done a good job of maintaining what Thomas Frank had set up already. Now, if he's given time, yeah, and certain players in certain positions that he needs to build a stable midfield, yeah, then we will see something from the midfield. But we don't have that. We don't have that player that carries the ball from the midfield from the defense to the attack. We don't have that, Savva. That's why it looks ugly when we watch Tottenham play. You can see that's missing from there. You can see that the left wing here is a problem. You can see that the front line here, there's no prolific forward up there. And most of the forwards we have here, they can't stay on side for love nor money, by the way. So even if Xavi Simons does a creative through ball like he did yesterday, Mwani can't even stay on side to put the ball in the back of the net. And then you've got and Ben Davies should have been gone a long time ago. I said that years ago. But yeah, this is what Thomas Frank has to work with each and every. This is the bones that he's got to work with and put together. And you're thinking, mate, you've done a good job so far.
But this is what I said to the last guy that called in, and big up to Big D. I appreciate he came on. I'm not going, how many people sit and say how shit this squad is, and then in the same breath say, but we should be playing better? I would have more respect for people if they said, yeah, this is a good squad and the manager's doing shit. At least, I mean, I think they're wrong, but at least you go, fair enough. But when people are saying, like the last caller literally said, didn't he? He said, yeah, there's no quality there, but we should be seeing more. And I'm like, well, hang on. You've just said there's no quality there. Like, and whenever you ask anybody, who's the quality then that can play really good football? They name the same three players, the two centre-halves and a DM. Notice how it's none of the people you need to play better football that they mention. Why?
Yeah, I agree. Because they're not that good, don't they? Because they know the answer already before they even say anything. They know they're not that good. That's why.
And this is why I'm at the stage. Billy, I'm honestly so bored of saying this. I genuinely don't care if we sack Frank. Thomas Frank is a football manager who will be paid about £12 million to be sacked. Lucky bastard, right? He's going to get paid loads, right? Sack him, fine. But I will then be at the stage where I'm like, I don't care who we bring in, right? And I want to see what happens when a new manager comes in. If that manager is not backed like all the other managers, I really want to see what is said when nothing really changes. I want to see what is said because it's, again, Postecoglou is the worst thing that happened to this club for one reason, right? For one reason, nothing against him personally. It's made every debate and conversation now that we have to look at Ange. Every conversation goes back to Ange. But you didn't want Ange. Yeah, I didn't want Ange. I don't want a manager that plays wide open every single game and we get battered. But I saw Ange with his first 11 and with the injuries. I saw both. With Thomas Frank, I've only ever seen him with all the injuries. Mm-hmm. I've not seen him once be able to put out his best 11. Not once. So, look, maybe the new guy comes in at the right time and Kulu gets back fit, and Maddison, and Solanke, and Romero and Van de Ven are fit at the same time, and Udogie and Pot. Fine. Maybe. But if they don't, what manager is going to... Everyone keeps telling me they want a winner. All right, cool. What's Glasner going to do with this squad? Please tell me. What is Oliver? I like Glasner, Philly. I'm not knocking him. What is Glasner going to do with this squad? Because we're seeing this season, they're in Europe. Suddenly, Glasner's struggling.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
Because they're playing every 4 days. He doesn't have the squad. And now they've won. Is it one? They've not won in 9, I think. They've been knocked out the cup to Macclesfield. But the revisionism is, but if we had Glasner, he's a winner. He'd do based on what?
Yeah, like I said with Thomas Frank, they're expecting him to do miracles, Savva, with the squad that we have. You don't have the players to play the Glasner system. And for me, I don't care who the manager is, Savva. You could bring in Dynamo as the manager for me, mate, because that's the only one who can upskill the players, because really and truly needed a magician, bro. That's how bad the squad is for me. And
I'll tell you what I think is funny.
I really give my I give my condolences to the next Spurs manager already. I've already done that already, mate.
Agreed. See, like when people talk about ball playing managers, do people not think that I want to see some really good football? But someone like De Zerbi or Xavi Hernandez, those people could come in and pick this up. And you watch when De Zerbi or Xavi try and get this midfield to play their passing brand of football. You watch what happens when they're trying to get tick-a-tacker. Doesn't have to be tick-a-tacker, you know what I mean. You keep ball possession football from the likes of Archie Gray, Paulinho, Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, Basuma, Tell, Odeber. The only ones I think that will be capable of playing it are Maddison, Kulu, and Simmons. I think they're the only ones that have been capable of good link-up football. And funnily enough, only one of them is in the team. And then you get people going, oh, yeah, but look at the data for through balls. Well, sure. But when you see Xavi Simmons play, Xavi Simmons tries through balls. But he's threading through balls into Richarlison. Right? Wait, he's playing through balls into Richarlison and Moani, who, whenever they're played through, not one part of you thinks this is going in the back of the net.
That's if they stay on side, Savva, that is. But yeah, I agree with you. Not one of you think, not any part of you thinks that they're going to score today. You know what you're thinking? You're thinking majority of the time, yeah, they're going to miss. To be fair, every time they go through, you're thinking they're going to miss. That's how bad it is. Simmons can play the through ball all he likes. Yeah, they can get through, but you just don't think they're going to score. And I've had that feeling. But then it's like the people. Oh, Thomas Frank's doing a bad job. But look who you've got up front. Look at your up front. Let's just take a look at up front. You've got Chesney Hawk-Solanke, yeah, with one good year. That's all he's ever had in his career. And I've watched this guy from Liverpool. I watched him play for England under-19s. I've never rated Solanke, right? And then you've got the Pigeon, whose record is 13 goals here. And I've watched him at Everton and at Watford before that. I never rated the guy. And then you've got Moani, who is another one that I haven't rated. Exactly. So you're between a rock and a hard place, Savva. Anything you get from those three here is a miracle on the day, because not one of them is prolific or clinical. And then you just look at them and you think, this is what you've got. This is your firepower. I'm going to say this now, Savva. Do you think any of those strikers fit in the top 10 of the Premier League? Because I don't think so.
Look, I make you right. The problem is we've got so many, and I'm going to end the show in 2 minutes, guys, as well, by the way, and I'm going to send you over to Football Inc. But we've got so many, right? We've got so many players that are sometimes players, right? And what I mean by that is Tell grabs a goal every now and then, and people go, oh, see, where's the apologies for Tell? Like Odeber scores last night. People go, told you, if you play this boy, as though we've never seen a player score a goal again. And when you look at the front three, all of them are sometimes players.
Yeah, inconsistent.
All of them are sometimes players. Not one of them is capable of putting a consistent run of form together where you go, yeah, you're quality, right? These young players, people keep harping on about. I've not seen anything from Bergvall, from Gray, from Tell. I don't see anything where I go, yeah, you should be at Tottenham. It's not that they don't do the odd nice thing. But in terms of 90-minute performances, I don't ever see anything. And
that's why at the start of the season, yeah, big up Chris, Spurs CC, yeah, because he said it on, I think he said it in your show. He said, right, we're gonna get ups and downs all season. We can have games we win and games we lose, and that is what I agreed with at the start of the season. I said we're gonna be very inconsistent because none of our players have consistency. It could be a good game today and a bad game tomorrow. And nothing more epitomizes that, yeah, than Romero. Romero is the epitome of inconsistency. And it's the same way this team is very inconsistent. So from today, you could probably draw with Bodo. Tomorrow, you could go and beat Manchester City. This is the way that Tottenham are. But you still need the quality on the pitch to be able to do. And Thomas Frank doesn't have any source of creativity other than Xavi Simmons and Kudus. And like Rain said earlier, yeah, because we have no left-hand side, I've watched games here where obviously Kudus get three-manned upon. And you're thinking, three mans are upon you. No wonder you can't, sooner or later, you're going to get frustrated, dude. But and now he's injured. There is zero.
The Kudus thing is a great example. right? Kudus this season, yeah, does he hold on to the ball a bit too long? But so would I if my options were what he's got playing around him. He has 3 men marking him, and people go, he's dropped off. Isn't it funny that when people are in a really well-oiled, well-drilled team, they perform better?
You know
But,
that.
as I said, I just don't care. Sack him, don't sack him. At the end of the day, look, I'm going to leave it there, Philly. But at the end of the day, I think Bill made a great point. Not there. Bill made a great point. So we're talking about winners. Couldn't you say Enoch are winners?
Yeah.
Enoch just won the Europa League, so we've got winners, right? Like, and that's why when people say, "Get me a winner," we tried that with Jose, tried that with Conte. We can't buy the players those managers want. So,
what was the result? You know, when we brought winners to the club, yeah, what was the result of bringing winners to the club? Because I can't remember. I think it was the world record of 72 days without a manager. I believe it was a result of bringing a winner to the football club and not being able, and the club not having the resources. Let me get it right. The club not having the resources to support them correctly. The result is 72 days without a manager, which is a world record. So anyone keeps saying, let's bring a winning manager to the football club. Spurs don't look very good on the outside. Trust me on this one. And another one, yeah, is
which winning manager? Which winning manager worth his salt is going to pick up the phone to Spurs and go, yeah, I fancy that 4 or 5 year project to make you guys a really good club again? Who is that guy?
Very good question.
And I'll leave it on that because, as I said, I keep seeing loads of people go, get me a winner. Cool. But we got Conte, who's a winner. We got Jose, who's one of the greatest managers of all time. These guys turned up. They were given average players. And what happens? It all goes to shit. Don't get me wrong. Both of them had good spells at Tottenham.
Right.
Like in moments. Like Conte got top 4 and we're all going, oh, go on. We're in the Champions League. And we give him Richarlison. We give him Spence. We give him Longley on loan.
I remember that summer. Savva, I remember that summer. I remember being in the chat with you, and I remember being on the stream with you, yeah. And I remember a Tottenham fan saying this, Savva, Arsenal are in our rear view. Do you remember that summer? Because that was the summer of that one. And I said, oh my word, the arrogance there, because we're in that one moment where we finished above Arsenal. Arsenal are in our rear view. And now look how the thing has changed. And I remember Spurs fans saying Chelsea were beneath us at that point as well. Now look how the pendulum has shifted, yeah, and them teams got their act together. And now look where Tottenham are, and it's even Aston Villa. We constantly put these teams down, Savva. We constantly make we're okay because they're in a bad situation, but they're in a bad situation in a moment of time. When that club gets their act together, then you'll start to see just where Tottenham are, because Tottenham aren't that good. That is the problem.
You know the funny thing, Philly? Look how many people in chat say things like, but we shouldn't be below Fulham or Brighton or this or that. We talk about these clubs like we're some brilliantly run big football club. But what these people seem to have not noticed is that in the last however many years, as those clubs are going like that, sorry, we're there, they're there. As they're going like that, we've been doing that. Right? So now when we talk about, but it's Fulham. Fulham have some good little players down there. Fulham have had the same manager for years. They all play for him. They're all in the right direction. Most of the signings are his. It's a good team. Brentford. Everyone now, isn't it funny? Everyone, look at Brentford. What, you mean the club that Thomas Frank built?
You know that.
The same manager that we are hating built the club that now everyone is praising because they're 5th right now. We have got this godlike complex that we are better than we are because we had a good stint under Pochettino.
100%.
Right? And this is the problem. We have, like the last guy that came on, the players should be doing better. What? Why? Who should be doing better? And if they should be doing better...
You know how when they asked for evidence, Savva, there was no evidence inside because there is no evidence whatsoever.
Right. So I bring evidence and people go, oh, cherry picked. Well, how can I cherry pick 2 years worth of data? Right? How can I? So again, when the next manager joins, and I really do have to stop the show, but when the next manager joins, let's see immediately, these fans are telling me we can play good football. Let's see it. When the new manager joins with these same footballers, If he isn't backed, let's see it. Let's see us go out there, pass teams off the pitch, win every week, be in the top 4. Let's see it.
I agree.
See, look. And again, look how we belittle. Frank didn't build Brentford. Did Pochettino build Spurs? Because he gets credit for building Spurs. Sorry, again, because of the hate, people can't even acknowledge. Look at the great job the man done. They can't even acknowledge it.
I agree.
Right? It's not. If we're going to say Frank didn't build Brentford, cool. Then Pep didn't build Man City. Klopp didn't build Liverpool. If we're allowed to berate managers but not credit them, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. Of course, Frank built with other people, but Frank was the manager. For 7 years, Frank got the team doing Brentford from bottom half of the Championship.
I know.
Into the Premier League. Right?
Into an established Premier League team, Savva. Not even because remember
Exactly.
he hasn't even been. He's not even playing in the Brentford are not in the relegation zone since Frank took over. He's he's stabilised that team into a middle Premier League mid place team. So you have to give him his praise for that. I don't understand why all of a sudden, yeah. And do you know what? Another thing that annoys me, Savva, is he's a mid-table manager. Hello, Spurs finished 17th last season. The table doesn't lie after 38 games, so we were below mid-table last season.
It's so funny, right? The same people that are saying, "Oh, this team should be much better." You're like, "Well, we finished 17th last year, right?" The same fans that were going, "Oh, it's an injury crisis."
Yeah.
But this year we should somehow be better than we are when we've anyway. It is what it is.
I know.
I'm so bored of the Ange versus Frank conversation.
I know. I'm done with it, mate. I'm like you. I'm done with it, brother. I just want to move on now. I just want to see. I want to see what this board do, because for me, yeah, it's the indecisiveness of this board, yeah, that's annoying me. Either they back Thomas Frank or they sack Thomas Frank. It's no more halfway houses anymore of sticking down the middle road. I don't want to hear it anymore from Tottenham Hotspurs. I just want to see them. Either you back the man or you sack the man. Either one or the other. Because now, yeah, we're going to go round and round in circles.
And this is all I've said. Back him or sack him. He's the manager right now. Bring him in some players in his transfer window that help him. Right? If you don't want to do that, sack him. Let's bring the next guy in and let's have this conversation again in 6 to 12 months.
100%.
Fine. I'm fine with it. But as I said, whoever the next manager is, Philly, I'm not saying a thing. When Spurs bring in their next manager, I'm just going to say, "Welcome to Spurs."
Mm-hmm.
Go. What do you think of this manager? No, I'm not. I'm not saying a thing. I'm not saying a thing, because everybody changes what they say so much. It's unreal. Everybody acknowledges how bad this squad's been put together, but then everybody doesn't want to give anybody any transfer windows or time to actually change it. So look, look, all I know is this: like the manager, dislike him. If we do not get a couple of results in the next couple of games, he'll go. We know that. Yep. And that's fine. And then people can hopefully get off my case of, "This is the manager you wanted." Do you know the funny thing is, Philly, when I said I wanted this manager, but it wasn't the only manager I wanted, but when I said, "Yeah, I like this manager," at no part did I say I want this manager, but I in no terms do I want there to be a plan or transfers that... I'm pretty sure I didn't say I want this manager, but I want to sell Son and not replace him, and I don't want to back him for the Champions League. Like, it's madness. How many? Anyway, look, let me do some super chats. Big up to Ham Head. Big up to you. It says, "So glad this only channel where I don't have to hear the Ange debate, the manager out noise, and can just listen to logic." Look, I just find the whole Ange thing is done. Ange got sacked. We've moved on, right? So let's back this manager or sack this man. I don't care, but not everything is about Ange. It's so boring now. It's so boring. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And yes, Stewie says hi back. Big up to Atavatron Wembley, who has said, very generous, said, "James is spotted about relegation. I'm old enough to remember when we went from UEFA Cup in 74 to being relegated. Rock bottom 2 just 3 years later. The elements are there." Do you know what? If Spurs don't arrest this dreadful policy of transfers we've got, and this constant chopping and changing at the club, in a few years we could be. The money's there, the resources are there to change that. And you know what? 2 or 3 really good signings this window would change that. A Gallagher, a Lookman, a Gomez from Wolves suddenly shifts the balance. But, mate, listen, it is worrying times. I completely agree with you. The Big D has said this club is a joke, but the one thing we all know is Frank has to go. Last good game was against City. We have seen absolutely nothing since then. Yeah, and obviously we've had that chance since you came on. But again, as I said, Frank can go. But again, you couldn't tell me any quality footballers in this team. So let's pray for the next manager that you give that manager a little bit more time than you're giving this one. You come back in again and said, thanks for having me on. You are welcome. First time on a show, bit nervous. It's all good. It's all good. I sometimes forget that, by the way, because I do it every day. I sometimes forget what it's like.
I know exactly how you feel, Savva. I was doing that myself on my own channel. It's like, what do I do here? But fair play to the Big D earlier, mate. Respect for coming on, man.
Absolutely. He says, I enjoy the shows. Keep up the good work. All I want is better for the club. And I agree it starts at the top. Mate, listen, we all want better for the club. But the thing is, you have said it right. It does start at the top. So as I've said, if Spurs announce tomorrow, Frank's gone, but they're implementing Ralph Rangnick as the director of football and Nagelsmann's going to be his manager, there's a plan. I am cool with that. But if you're going to announce Frank's gone, and we've got no plan, and we're still going to do the next bloke under Lang, I just don't care. That's the point. I just don't care. Adam Gill, thank you very much, Adam, has said, replace Romero, Porro, Richie, Bentancur, Vicario with well-rounded pros who are instantly a better team. Do you know what? Problem for me, Adam. Romero, been up and down for 4.5 years. Porro, been up and down for 4 years. Richie, don't rate him at all. Bentancur, slowly on the decline. Vicario, never rated him. Agreed. We've got so many maybe players, but big up to you, Adam. Really appreciate that. And then last but not least, big up to Serenos Brunner says, does anyone remember when Spurs announced some kind of analytics-based scouting just when they hired Lang? Man, I think he is using his save from FM23. Look, I don't know what data we're using to buy players. I don't know what scouting. All I know is this squad isn't good enough. So
there is one thing I just want to say, Savva, though. There was talk last night, of the pigeon saying he's leaving in the summer. Why wait to the summer, my man? You can leave tomorrow if you want. Just get on the train, get on a plane to Heathrow and just leave, because I don't want to wait to see you come back from your injury. That was the only good thing last night, was my man not being there. I don't want to see him, blood. Enough of seeing my man, because every game I hope the pigeon can score today. No. He's just a bad football player. The man can't control the ball. He can't stay on side. And if he wants to leave, you can leave today, brother. Please don't wait. Please don't wait till the summer. I don't want to wait another 6 months to see you.
Agreed.
Now, bro.
You know what's funny is that, again, look how our fans talk. Like he said, I've mentioned 5 quality players in this team. Do you want to see what he said? Right? So he said, Xavi Simons, who I think will be quality. I don't think he's there yet. I think he will be. I think he needs time.
Agreed. Work in progress.
Bergvall, quality.
No.
Like Kudus, I agree, good player. But Mawani, quality.
No.
Van de Ven is a very good defender.
Right, that's 3 of 5. That's 3 of 5. I see.
Right.
I don't rate Bergvall. Bergvall gives the ball away. He reminds me of Pinky in the Brain. He does the same thing every game. He gives the ball away. And who's the other? And Mawani. Yeah. Oh gosh, I thought I was like tormented for France, having to watch this guy play for France here. Now I got to watch him play for Spurs as well. I asked myself what I did in previous life when I watched my Mawani, because he is not a good forward.
We have fans saying that players like Bergvall and Mawani are quality. So no wonder they think we should be doing better, Philly. I watch Bergvall, right? And I think to myself, I haven't really seen what the fuss is about. But I say to myself, this boy should have been bought in from Sweden when he was and chucked out on loan. Go out on loan and play every game and show us how good you are. But our fans think that's quality. And you know what, Philly? If we've got fans that think that is quality, then we don't deserve nice things.
100%.
Because Bergvall's not getting in at Liverpool or Chelsea or City or Arsenal or Newcastle or Villa. He don't get into those teams. He doesn't get in. By the way, great. Yeah, for me, I just don't know why this boy was ever bought. Again, I was told if he gets a run of games, we'll see what he's about. every game I watch him and I'm going, what?
He was just doing long balls all day. Savva, I was watching him yesterday. I'm thinking, he doesn't even take like a time or look before he does a long ball. He was just stringing long balls over to the right-hand side, and Tell got a few of them, but they were random. They could have gone anywhere on the pitch. And I'm looking at him thinking, you are not a good football player. You need to go down a few levels, mate. You need to go down to the Championship or League One, yeah, and learn to take time on the football and look around before you make a pass. And this is the sad thing about Archie Gray. I said this last season, that I didn't want to see him in the Premier League because I knew the league was too much for him. And then I'm watching him this season, I'm thinking, you haven't improved in any aspect as a player. You're still doing those rash balls over the top and going to anywhere.
But you know what, Philly? The thing for me is, I know, like, if I was talking with Luba about this, he'd just say, oh, they're 19, you get on their back. 19, that means he's been playing football since the age of 3 or 4, right? I'm not expecting at 19 that he's a seasoned pro, but I am expecting at 19 that I go, yeah, you got something about you.
Right.
Like I remember when Declan Rice came through at West Ham and he started playing, you went, yep, you can play. Do you know what I mean? You can play, you got something about you. I watch Gray and I can't see one thing that any scout has gone, that I can't, you know,
100%.
I just have these visions in my head, Philly, of a scout coming back from a Leeds game and going, oh my God, come with me next week to Leeds. You've got to watch this. Who did that? And I can hear all the excuses in the world. Last year it was, but he's a number 6 being played out of position. This year, he's a number 8. Which one is it? I don't see that he's good at anything. But anyway, so we deserve to be outclassed by Villa. Villa have got a much better team than us. Mate, sorry, you've just said I talk out of crap after naming players like Mwani and Bergvall as quality. I mean, dude, I just...
Savva, I said this earlier, yeah? The table doesn't lie. The table doesn't lie, yeah? For the last 2 seasons, I swear Aston Villa finished above Tottenham Hotspurs. For
last 3 seasons.
Oh, was it last 3? Oh, yeah, it's the last 3 seasons.
Make that 4 this year.
Right, 4. So it's the last. So it's in the next. So the last 4 years, yeah, Aston Villa finished above Tottenham, but yet Tottenham fans are still in the denial of Tottenham are better than Aston Villa. Yeah, keep
in that 11 yesterday. Who gets in the Aston Villa team?
None.
Maybe Van der Ven.
Maybe, but it's as a cohesive unit, I would say none, because everyone in Aston Villa team know their role on the pitch. That team was built for Emery in mind, and you can see it. So that's still a question mark of whether Van der Ven gets in that team or not. But I'm looking at them and I'm thinking they're miles better than
they get Conor Gallagher, and I bet you if they get Conor Gallagher, our fans will go, nah, he's no good. And then when he does well for Villa, right? But look, Ellie, by the way, the only reason I said Rice is we keep talking about youngsters, but there are youngsters that I see go into a first team and they might not be the finished article because they're a kid. But I watch them and go, yeah, you can play. You've got something. I don't think I've ever watched Archie Gray and gone, oh, that was nice. The odd pass. But as a footballer, he looks like a scared little boy.
Yeah.
He's not strong. I don't think he's particularly good in the tackle. His passing is really poor. I don't know what he does. And fans go, good player, you watch. Well, okay, I'll watch in a few years, but you know.
And the thing is, there's no guarantee that they'll ever get there, Savva. That's the bad thing about it. Because I've watched this over the years at Spurs, yeah, where we've had a Tom Carroll, or we've had a Bentaleb, or we've had a young player come through, and everyone's raved about them. And because of the amount of pressure that they're under at this club, you see them crack. And then when they've left, yeah, the next one comes in, and you're thinking, when are you going to learn? You're not learning as a football club. You can't keep taking speculative punts, man, hitting hopes every year. Sooner or later, that's going to catch up on you. You have to buy some level of experience so that it take the pressure from these young kids, and these young players can learn from them, come with 10 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, right? And any impact they have on the match here is a benefit. But at Tottenham, the recruitment is so bad, Savva, that they are thrust into the first team because they've got no other choice.
It's so bad. It's so bad, the recruitment at Tottenham. And the thing is, the fans know this and still can't see that it's a problem. They know this, but still can't kind of acknowledge it. Look, for me, and I'm going to end the show on this, right? When you're saying, did you see, guys, see how the youngsters of Man City played being coached by a good manager? Yeah, it also helps when you're playing around top class footballers, doesn't it? You know, it's, come on, let's, you know, look, when I see Josh King at Fulham, I don't think he's the finished article, but I go, yeah, you got something in you. When I watch Lewis Miley of Newcastle, again, yeah, you look good. You look like you got something about you.
Right.
But we've got, look how much Bergvall and Gray have been overhyped by this fan base. And we're doing it now with Selen Odeberg. Every time Mikey Moore scores a goal for Rangers in the Scottish League, we go, he should be on our left wing. Every time Alfie Devine scores a goal for Preston, poor Alfie. Anyway, big up to each and every one of you. This last comment I'll bring up. Absolutely. Absolutely. They all hate Enoch. They all hate Lang. They all say our signings are crap, but then they all think we should be doing better and like all the players. I'm truly confused. Look, thanks, Philly, for coming on. Really appreciate that. Guys and girls, I'm going to send you over to Sean and Johnny on Football Inc. Listen, as I said before, I'll say this again so people can clip this. Sack Frank, don't care. Sack Lang, don't care. Sack Vinay, don't care. Sack any of the players, don't care. Sack all of them, don't care. Bring me a plan, though, if you're going to do it. Don't just sack and have no plan. Much love. Take care. I'm going to send you over to Football Inc. When you get there, please just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid. Please subscribe to Philly as well. BMGT, Blockbuster Moves, Gaming and Gaming and Television. Much love. Take care. I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my Sunday and see who Spurs signed today. Take care. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.